I really think that there's been a sorely missed opportunity for developers to take a step back from competition and take a step forward with community.
Mm,
Um, and if they do that, I think we all win, because community, I would argue, is the one thing that no one's trying to solve.
mm-hmm,
We're trying to solve recruitment. We're trying to solve competition. Tell me, where's community?
mm-hmm.
Honestly, any one of you, go ahead. Shout out what's the national community for Scholastic right now. Any title, tell me.
Yeah.
Where do I go? How do I meet and hang out?
Of the
How
storm,
does you?
community zero.
There's
Yeah.
nothing. It
That.
doesn't exist anymore. And it doesn't exist statewide. It doesn't exist school wide. It doesn't exist region wide. It doesn't exist nationally. It doesn't exist digitally on Twitch. It doesn't exist digitally on Discord. It doesn't exist through any form of skill based development. It doesn't exist on any form of skill based learning or just pure socialization and fandom.
Mm-hmm,
Huge missed opportunity. You want to take their time and make it more efficient, in my opinion. Tell Riot Scholastic politely to stop what they're doing with competitive, and their integration with LCS should be, you know, Twitch, symposiums and summits and conversations and learning and uh, all sorts of wonderful things, and promoting camps and educational learning activities and RSSA sponsored curriculum. That will move the needle. I don't see any of that.
So Chris, that was pretty much the last topic. You kind of wrapped it in a nice package called community. And I was kind of thinking more from an organizer and a broadcaster point of view around growing fandom. And how do we get fandom around collegiate esports to look more like traditional sports across the board? And that helps us go out and sell sponsorships in the place, of which trickles down to all our member schools that we represent. But when we go to brands and we can't check that box of, a billion impressions and a million views, we still are challenged with selling those sponsorships. So my last and final is, do we have any secrets around how to grow fandom or grow community on, let's just start with on campus.
I
I
mean,
got the bed one real quick.
Okay.
Best way to grow community: food nights. It has nothing to do with playing the game. I'll give you a real life example. We used to do dollar burger night at the University of Cincinnati. We'd just go out to Bar Louie. We used to have dollar burgers every Wednesday. We'd post in at this time it was Facebook groups, tell people where to show up. 6 people, 12 people showed up the first week. By the third month, we had 40 plus people coming, and it was the biggest revenue night of the week for Bar Louie every week, purely because of us. But we had friendships, we had relationships, we had roommates, we had all sorts of great, wonderful things come from that, and that translated to our lands, our club meetings, and everything from that.
Mhm.
It was nothing beats food nights.
Love.
um, just like pro sports, we need to focus on tribalism. And the way that you create tribalism is you have to prioritize in-person experience, in my opinion. Um, I think that there's a lot of companies trying to become unicorn online platforms, but at the end of the day, I think we need pockets and hubs around the country that serve as regional and local hubs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, once you get a group of people together that share their love for the team that is on their campus, they start to develop a bond around that. You can do that online, but it won't be nearly as effective.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Professional esports is having this tribalism problem because it's the majority of it's online. It's resulted in um, fans following players more so than the teams. I mean, that's a pretty broad topic though. Like we're starting to see
Mm-hmm.
those trends in traditional sports as well start to occur. People will follow LeBron and specific players on different teams to wherever they are. But I think for collegiate specifically, um, schools need to create meaningful live experiences. And if we're talking explicitly about fandom, you have to make the students on your campus care about the team uh,
Mm-hmm.
first. That's the biggest thing. Either you create a level of pride through community engagement, or through the team itself. At a lot of schools, the groundwork is there for this.
Welcome back to the ECAC Esports, bringing you some of the hottest collegiate action across, well, NA it seems, as we take on Siege, one of the best games in the world. I'm kidding, obviously. And, well, we have Army West Point University versus Husson University. And, well, Happiness, I have a question to ask. Are you happy? Does your name ring true? How are you feeling today, bud?
Oh, absolutely. It's ringing as true as ever. More than excited to get into this action between Army West Point and Husson. Now, as a member of the ECAC League for Siege, I actually play on a team of my own. We have played against Army West Point before, so I'm experienced in, the play styles of people at this level. So I think that'll make it even more interesting to watch and actually see it from an outsider's perspective, It'll make it all the more fun to watch. As you put it, Siege, the greatest game. Not really.
Well, let's see what type of maps we'll play on so we can judge if this is going to be the greatest game, if it's going to be an entertaining evening or not for us. As you guys can tell from our map picks and bench, Clubhouse and Border are the first to go. Now, for our picks, though, as the bans don't really matter that much because we don't really have any other statistics on how the teams actually play on different types of map, win rates, lose rates, what have you. So for our 3 picks, because it is a best of 3 within the ECAC region, we have Chalet, Oregon, and Theme Park. Theme Park being our decider map. Chalet up first.
Yeah, so Husson picks to go into Chalet. That means Army West Point are going to start on the defense. And Chalet's one that could really favor either side, depending on how you look at it. It just kind of depends on specific operator bans and also the play styles of what teams go into them. So in terms of who picks what side first, it's not necessarily an inherent advantage until you actually get onto the map itself and see how you play into the other teams. With Oregon, it can usually stray more defender-sided in my experience, but then again, you also never know with how aggressive teams can be like this at this kind of a level. It's not necessarily professional level. It's very aggressive at times. They're very sort of peaky, so that could mean that defense or offense could be a landslide better or worse. And then Theme Park, of course, is infamous as a ranked map, as if you get defense, then you just win in overtime after everyone wins the defensive halves. At least in my experience with ranked, that's just kind of how Theme Park is. But it'll be interesting to see the strategies that these teams bring to it, because it's a tough map to play for a non-professional team. There's a lot of depth that can go into it. I'm excited to see the extent to which these two teams go with actually bringing out in-depth strategies for Theme Park.
Yeah, no, for sure. Theme Park is a map where, if this were like a couple of months ago where it got re-added back into the map pool, you'd be like, oh, it's so surprising to see Theme Park. But as of recently in a competitive scene, it's been a lot more recent, or it's been a lot more common, especially in NA. And so I really do love Theme Park. At least in comp, I hate it in ranked. So I'm one of the people who just I would rather it not be ranked, but I love seeing it in a professional play. We are going to start off with Chalet, as we mentioned before. The picks and the operator ban phase coming right on up, with that Thatcher being gone first, the Maverick being gone second.
Yeah, those are two pretty interesting ones, because that's going to mean that unless we see both Kaid and Bandit banned, the electrification is going to have a lot of impact, because you're going to need to bring those impact EMP operators, like whether, actually, ironically enough, we see the Kaid ban. I don't know if we'll see a Bandit ban. They're not super common, but in a situation like this where electrocution could be super impactful and there's no Thatcher, no Maverick, then you never really know. We're waiting that last incoming ban. It's going to be the Mira gone for Army West Point. That's a typical ban. Mira just completely changes the way that you play. And so if you don't really have the strats prepared for Mira, you don't want to bank on the other team not having them prepared either, because you don't want to play into a Mira without being able to play with it properly yourself. But the Bandit might have a lot of prevalence this map, and you already see Shiko running it. And I don't know if we have any impact EMPs picked yet for the attacking side. It doesn't look like it. The Twitch might just be the only counter we have, though.
Yeah, no, I think Capitao does have EMP impacts. Correct me if I'm wrong, because
I don't know. Here, let's look it up. That's my mistake.
No, it's all right. It's a lot of different operators, I wouldn't call them agents. I'm in my Valorant mind today, but like, for a lot of different operators, a lot of them actually got the EMP Dokkaebi got him, Lion got him, Nook got him, and Nook, as an operator, she's not banned today, and she has a lot of utility that she can bring forth into this lineup. So the Capital pick stays for Husson Esports as they start their attack off on this master bedroom, but you still have 4 operators that have been repicked. They're going to bring a hard breacher, where they were bringing one before, but now they're going to bring a thermite. Seeing the site choice, a thermite pick on this map makes a lot of sense because you want to be able to open a bigger hole, especially on those main walls, office being one of them, and also master bedroom towards Solarium. Or astronomy, or Solarium, whatever you call it, Solarium,
Yeah, well, whatever you choose to call it. It's particularly important on this map in and of itself, as, you know, that master default plant can be so effective when you're just trying to push into the site, but also from solar, the hard breach provides a whole new aspect of getting into the site, but it doesn't look like it'll be a solar push for right now. It's Husson starting off towards library. They're going to just try and take control of the whole balcony area, make sure the fireplace is all good, and there's nobody really contesting that main wall other than the bandit charges there, so it'll be interesting to see the counter they come up with and how they'll be able to get that electrocution off the wall.
Yeah, there's also no nays as well from the side of Husson Esports, so if they wanted to remove these from below, they would have to get like a very accurate ping through some really good drone work because they don't have an IQ. They also 6 pick off of that too, I believe, having that in the early round. But here comes the denial, or rather the flank here from Quartz as he takes out the first operator on the board, and then as Snow Game is trying to rotate to get the visual, to get that refrag, he gets caught by Snow swinging from that office wall towards that library hallway, and that's already some good work early on here from Army West Point.
Yeah, they do a great job. A wonderful play on the very end there from... Was it just me, or did that drone just kind of glitch out? One of them was right next to the monster, and he didn't quite catch it. And then as soon as the Twitch drone goes through, you know what? We love Siege sometimes. We love Siege sometimes. But regardless, it's Husson at a 2-player disadvantage. They're just trying to clear the rest of this map, find Quartz first, or at the very least, put the air jabs in good spots, so they'll be able to deny Quartz coming back up from anywhere else. As logical, getting shot at, trying to just play around library, but getting shot up from the same holes. They got Snow Game killed. It's still Soup on those holes towards the default plant spot, and not likely to leave anytime soon with how effective a position this has been. And on top of that, your thermite's down, so it doesn't look like a likely round, especially if Soup can't get pushed out of the spot. But he doesn't actually play it carefully. He ends up going down for it, and then Logical doesn't even get traded back. So Husson could have something to work with here. Only 45 seconds, though. And here comes Quartz on the flank. The blue stairs, not looking the right way. Logical goes down. That's Diffuser dropped as well. So it's Alto and Ubisoft to do everything on their own, and they don't have any control. And they can't really shut down Quartz. It's not looking good.
Yeah, they haven't been able to shut him down throughout this whole entire matchup. I was about to say, if he got another kill, that would be criminal. Him getting 2 from that same flank is already criminal enough. Him getting a 3rd just from going up the main stairs would have been absolutely nuts, and I probably would have lost my marbles. Now, 10 seconds left on the board. The last 2 players for Husson are just going to have to force themselves into choke points. This isn't good, seeing as they lost their hard breacher early on. They also lost the Capital, so you saw Soup, the Jaeger, get so much value from his position behind that half wall in office. If the Thermite and the Capital were still alive, he wouldn't have nearly gotten as much effectiveness from that position, I guarantee you. But since they died early, the Jaeger was allowed to stay there for so long, and he got so much value from it. And again, that double flank from Quartz was absolutely huge for Army West Point to confirm that round.
Oh yeah, it looks like Lance Fox has just confirmed my suspicions from the last round of they found the bug with the Mozzie. That was funny. So it looks like, you know, it was in fact not quite an intention. But regardless, yeah, like you mentioned, Quartz there really just winning them the round, getting those big couple of kills early. Quartz not necessarily directly killing the Thermite last round, but essentially gets him killed, and that means it's a 2-player disadvantage with no hard breach, and you're not coming back from that as Husson. But the thing now is, if I'm Husson, you lose the first round like that, I'm definitely spending a lot more time on the roam clear and going to be a lot more careful. I'm surprised to not see anything like a Yana or even so much as an Ashe to try and just like run around the whole map and clear everything out. It seems like the best they've got on an entry without too much utility. Maybe the Dokkaebi if you don't care much about if you've already used the impact EMPs, probably the Twitch, but there isn't really a defined primary entry whose main job is to just clear the map, so it looks like it'll have to be a team effort on the roam clear, but I'm sure there will be a roam clear because of how they lost the last round.
Yeah. There seems to be, they have 3 players set up on the main wall here of Garage, so it seems like they're going to go for a more direct take. Using the EMP impacts, but poorly timed on the second one as Shiko's doing a great job. Oh, God. Well, he was doing a great job of bandit tricking, then he got fired out overstaying his position, but still they have to get rid of the bandit charges, and you're gonna try and rotate your Twitch there, but you still have like the mute jammers in the way, plus the zombie barriers.
Oh no, and they're out of impact EMPs.
Yeah.
How did they lose? But did they drop both of them on the wall the first time around?
Yeah, that's what I said. They used the second one way too early, and Shiko, already used his bandit charges by that much, and with the changes to bandit, he's so much more effective in bandit tricking. So really poor utility usage there from Husson Esports.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation, but Lance Fox is still able to get Quartz down as well, so I'm not even sure where that was from. But I do know that that's going to mean... Oh, actually, it looks like it's from behind. Logical was trying to make an entry, but Presence now known and dealt with as he's dropped onto the ground and nobody else is nearby. So Husson, the only Presence in the backside, has just been taken down. Now they're going to have to try and figure out how else do we push here, because Alto has just been shut off that staircase. Because the Dokkaebi can no longer get through those zombie barriers. It's only a 1-player disadvantage for Army West Point, and considering the spot that Husson is in, this could realistically go either way, but they might have blue for free because Dave might not be watching it closely enough. And they've got just over a minute to work with as Dave nearly swinging around the corner, getting pre-fired, but just going to toss the gas canister out, and Lance Fox has to push aggressively, but he's not ready for it. Lance Fox, what an aggressive play, able to get a 3rd one in the round, and now they know they're into blue. Waffle's going to try and make an impact play, just needs to deal with... needs to deal with Lance Fox, but not ready for also on the opposite side, and it's just left to Soup. 1 versus 4. Can they take another one? There goes the first kill, now watching the backside with a shotgun. Able to push forward. Hasn't gotten Lance Fox in, knows that he was last seen in blue, so should have an opportunity to kill here, but Lance Fox is watching this, he's not even watching this angle, he's just sitting in the corner, trying to play for the timing, puts the Claymore down, so now Soup knows where to expect him, swinging around the corner, missed shots on both sides, but Lance Fox has a bit more ammo, so he'll win that out just fine. It's a 1-0 lead now, that was just taken away, and it's back to 1-1 as Husson do make the best of a bad situation.
Ooh. You saw, really bad situation early on, especially with the misplays with those EMP impacts, but Husson Esports able to work their picks properly, and West Point kind of dropping the ball just a little bit, considering the amount of advantages they had. They were playing really well behind the bandit, at least after he died, the bandit using his bandit charges to fruition. You had the zombie still as well, and she was being quite effective in blocking entryways inside of the site, blocking the drone holes so that the Twitch drone, there was a mute jammer already there, but just to make sure that no other drones would get past that drone hole so that they would get extra intel inside of the site. But somehow, some way, Army West Point gave up more bodies than they should have, and Husson Esports walk away with the free one.
Yeah, it was a little bit free. That kill off the start, Shiko still getting caught tricking both walls, not being content just walking away after the first one. Ended up getting them killed in that situation. It was a little bit of a misplay from Snow Game to try and put him on both when you know you're playing into a bandit, and you should probably just try and stick to the one, because if you put it in between both of them, and then if he puts the charge on either wall, then he's going to get the exothermic. If he puts his the bandit wires on either side of the wall, it's going to get it all the same. So Snow Game coming back into it, hoping not to make the same mistake this time around, and Alto as well, hoping not to make the same mistake, as Lance Fox is going to set up for the Capital bolts once more. They're going to try and break these zombie barriers through the drone hole. Could be awkward, but they get it done, and now they're just going to try and toss in the Capital flames, and they should be able to get the wall open. The Snow Game takes a little damage, but the wall is all open. Or, nope, not quite yet. I guess we're taking our time? No.
Wow.
No.
Wow, no. They waited so long to do that. And guess what? Shiko got that off. They had that. I was gonna commend Husson Esports with the way that they played that, using the Capital bolts early in order to create space, make it so that Shiko would feel uncomfortable early in using those bandit charges. Even using the EMP impacts to disable the first bandit charges that were on that one in the first place. And quite simply, they just took a long time, but that's a nice shot from Lance Fox. And again, on the basement, Husson Esports find the first 2 picks.
Yeah, so, I mean, surprising shot there from Lance, but able to get the kill, and Logical also got one as well. Now, they know Logical's behind, and also Waffles trades out Lance Fox as the Capitao tries to push in towards the top floor. So, Azami is regaining control of his top floor, almost catches another one. It looks like that's Alto, actually, sitting down there, about to get swung again. Waffles gets that kill eventually, and Alto has no idea where to look. A 3 versus 3 now. As Army West Point have been bringing this one back, it's largely as a result of Waffles making big plays, but Chico gonna swing around with the C4, and that's as easy a plant denial as you'll ever see. They smoke it off, so he runs no risk peeking that angle wide. Logical, though, is into the back of the site, trying to play at a blue, gets the first kill. He's going to try and run into Cellar as well, but Waffles could try and get this flank, and Chico is wary of all the angles around him. So this could be dangerous, as I'm not sure where Ubisoft is either, but 45 seconds left. Husson are getting the plant down once more. I think he's actually just planting in the same spot as before, and nobody there to cover.
No way.
I'm not sure why you'd even go for that. Logical at least needs to get the trade, but has no idea that he's sitting in the corner. Eventually swings around, sees Chico, but Chico's got the kill, and Army West Point another round win. A couple misplays here and there from Husson and Army West Point do a great job capitalizing to get their second round and put themselves back in the lead.
Yeah, a bit of a question mark from the last two players alive from Husson Esports. One of them going for the plant, and then the other one nowhere to be seen. I was initially going to compliment the Alibi's position deep into sight, I thought they were going to actually pinch the player in that connector on basement, but no, they didn't do that. I was very surprised because literally I was going to criticize Waffles because Waffles was nowhere near his teammate to help him.
Yeah.
And they didn't take that opportunity to do the 2v1 pinch inside of the connector, and so Army West Point, they walk away with another. But I mean, we saw the fumble with Husson Esports, and it seems like when it comes to opening up these walls, when it comes to removing bandit utility off of the wall, at least for basement, they seem to struggle with that. And I hope they can find an immediate fix, because that can become an issue. I mean, Chalet is not really that big of a deal because it's an attacker side of the map. You having a lot of advantages to it, so even if you do lose the hard breach, even if you can't really open a wall, it's so easy to work picks around this map as the attackers. But when we get onto Oregon, I have a very big fear for them, so hopefully they can commend that issue now, because it's a small issue. You can easily fix it.
Yeah, and I know it's kind of early, but I do think it is still worth mentioning that this was the map pick of Husson Esports, so they wanted to send us to Chalet, so the fact that they're having so much trouble with getting utility off the walls on a map where there's only really a couple walls you have to worry about that on, as Waffles nearly able to get the early pick there, not quite allowed to do it, but still trying to play aggressively to find that first kill. But he has held Husson out there. But yeah, I mean, Husson picking this map, they want us to go to Chalet, and then they're having trouble with one of the simpler aspects of it is what? Oh, okay, Ubisoft has just closed off that angle, so he couldn't get the kill onto Waffles, who was right there. Unfortunate from Ubisoft. It maybe just held it a bit too long, not exactly sure, but it's going to deny the ability to kill, but then I think Waffles has just blown open the Osa shield with that, and now he knows that Logical's right to his left side, so he's got to watch this angle with his life, as Waffles and Logical just caught in a bit of a stalemate. Logical makes the swing and gets the kill, so a good job disposing of that early roamer, and I don't think they have anybody else who's particularly far off the site. So they dealt with the thing they couldn't deal with last time they attacked this top floor, but is that going to mean they win the round? Actually, no, Quartz is still downstairs as well, so we could have another massive Quartz flank. I just pray that Logical's got the air jabs where they need to be.
Well, let's see, because I mean, Husson don't have an issue. Husson don't have an issue with getting like early picks or finding the first pick. It's just mainly center around actually getting onto the site and doing something right. But I mean, here you go, double EMP impact thrown on the wall, disables the bandit charges. Chico uses all of his bandit charges on all of those walls, so he doesn't have the opportunity to juggle them like he would used to. And there goes a big old wall or hole opened up on that main wall. Kills start to rain out on the board. Husson Esports is a 4v1 advantage for them. A couple missed shots from Soup as he's just playing inside of Master Bedroom. Plant is going to go down behind the smoke, but it doesn't matter because Husson Esports have that on lock.
Yeah, really good job, Husson. They did a great job comparing their last attack to what they could do on this one, saying, all right, what did we mess up last time? Let's just go through the motions of making sure we get everything done. Now, they didn't do everything flawlessly. There was notably a couple of mistakes between the Osa trying to play that one window, accidentally denying themselves the opportunity to kill. They eventually got that kill, though. Logical didn't quite have the properly placed air jabs, so they didn't know that Quartz was coming up the back stairs, but they still got that kill regardless. So even when they would make mistakes, they did a really good job recovering from said mistakes. But now they've got Quartz on the pulse. So and they haven't really been clearing kitchen too much, so maybe this time around Army or West Point are like, okay, we can give them a lot more control. We're just going to hope they don't clear directly under the site, and then the Pulse C4 could have a lot of impact in actually shutting down that plant.
We'll see. Usually, at least in like my ranked games, if I see a post, I automatically know that he's gonna play below, and I assume it's the same or unranked because I don't really play ranked anymore. I barely play Siege anymore, but when I do, if I see a post, you automatically know. Macy J taught us this on YouTube.
But like,
play below.
The thing is,
they know that.
Do you think they saw him though? They might not have spotted
That's
the
true,
Pulse at all, and they haven't been clearing the bottom floor necessarily.
What?
Oh.
Okay, so he was just trying to shoot into mudroom. That's okay. That happens.
Yeah, it happens.
Your
You know
teammate
what?
just ran.
Unlucky. We go next, but you know what? Husson, they made it work last time, and they had like 4 players to spare. So if everything goes according to plan, you know, they could definitely make the comeback here. But as of now, after that massive mistake, it's going to be Waffles playing the same spot as last time. Ubisoft just holding the shield over here to try and make sure they doesn't get shot by his teammate. Oh, wait, Quartz is playing the C4 here. Okay. That's certainly one of the places you could have played that. I mean, I respect it, right? Like, it could definitely get a kill early on. It just needs to pop it now. Nope, too late. And he can't recover that either, so that's going to be gone.
Yeah. Only way he can recover that is if he just shoots behind or around the Nitro Cell, make it so that the floor is soft. But I mean, he's dead, and so is Waffles. As Husson Esports, I mean, they make a mistake early. Jesus Christ, they make a mistake early with the team kill, but it doesn't really matter because they find the picks that they needed to. That Nitro Cell hits onto not Alto, or it doesn't hit.
Knocked.
Wait, what?
How did he get knocked? Was that a team accidentally hitting him with the M870? Which we haven't even acknowledged the fact that there's an M870 in the round. And Chico's got another kill. Now Dave is running a primary P12, and it has gone just about as well as he would expect. Actually, no, he's not the one who died. It was Chico who died, and now Dave only has an M870 and a P12. There must have been some kind of elaborate strategy coming into this round. Whatever the strategy was, it hasn't worked out too well, and he had the advantage in that fight, but just not a good enough gun to really win it out. Eventually getting that kill is logical. Nice one with the ARX, and the Nomad will close things out in favor of Husson. That team kill to start off the round. They still win it out, and they have 2 players alive to tell the tale.
It just seems like as the rounds go on, Husson Esports are getting like much better at like clearing certain areas around the map in which they want to interact with. But yeah, we're seeing a little bit of a struggle bus here from Army West Point when it comes to like at least the way that they want to hold office. Office in itself is like a very difficult site to hold, so it's not like criticism to them. But like the way that it worked for them in the first round was that they turtled so much inside a site. They allowed Quartz to be the only one roaming, the only one contesting for map control on the flanks, and they caught Husson Esports like off guard twice with those flanks in the very first round. At the time, they tried to go for a more traditional hold towards library hallway. They had the wall reinforced, looking over towards the library double window. They, well, not really didn't. They didn't even have a library hallway hold. They had the main wall on the library wall towards path wall open, and etc. etc. It was a really traditional hold from Army West Point, but again, they lose by and I wonder if playing like a little bit more conservatively early would help them, because when they do that, Husson Esports can't find the first pick. Then they start to screw up with their utility. Then they start to screw up with the way that they get on site. And I just hope AWPE recognize that pattern and they're able to use that against Husson Esports.
Yeah, that would be the dream. Just recognizing the fact that, hey, when we let them try and play their game and just play patiently instead of playing as aggressively on the roam and just play spots they're not expecting, we usually do well. I mean, the rounds that Army West Point have won, like you said, they haven't been as aggressive. You know what? It's unlucky. Unlucky from Ubisoft. Accidentally holds that nade for a little bit too long. Had something cooking, but cooked it a bit too much. A little bit too well done on that grenade, and ends up getting the Yana killed early and logical. is going to go down as well. Already the smoke's into the site, though, so they might try and go for another plant. C4 out, but a really good job dodging that from Snow Game. But this time, will they actually be covering properly, or will Soup be able to get this denial? Another C4 goes out, as well as the gas canister, and that is an incredibly dead Thermite. Snow Game goes down as well, and Army West Point do a great job not doing too much early in the round. They get a couple of quick kills, and then they do a great job denying the plant. This is as quintessential a defense of the basement as you could see, and in all likelihood, barring a miracle from Husson, will be entering the second half at 3 rounds apiece for Army West Point and Husson Esports.
I wonder if that died because Quartz is nowhere near sight, so I wonder if Logical was just trying to get hatched by himself. But regardless of that, you can just tell that Husson Esports...
Okay, try again.
Yeah, they're going to try it again. I mean, there's no nitro cells. You already smoked out 2, but you still have... Or, sorry, not impacts, but impact grenades. They do get the plant down, so... Well,
oh, no.
isn't too good. Get this counter piece. Wait, okay, no, yeah, they got it. Jesus Christ.
Could you imagine there was like a C4, like a Claymore set up to kill like 4 people? That would have been crazy, but unfortunately for Husson, the miracle is not alive, and Army West Point are able to take that round and send themselves into the attacking half with respectable 3 rounds compared to the 3 from Husson. So now, although Husson, they showed that they were a little bit lacking with their utility on the attack. We'll have to see how they actually play with that on defense. Are they going to have very aggressive roam presence, or will they be a bit more sort of conservative and try and anchor on the site strictly? Because Army West Point, with how much they were roaming, I can only imagine they'll be doing at least pretty close to full cleanses, if not like entire cleanses of the actual map, and making sure that there is no roaming presence allowed whatsoever for Husson, and if there's any roaming presence, it gets dealt with immediately, because Army West Point know very well how effective that roam presence can be, because they used it to the fullest of its effect multiple times on their own defense.
Yeah. Be kind of ironic if they just fell to...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we saw Husson Esports fall to like the same roam twice in a row, despite having a Nomad. I think the Nomad in that round was just like placed a little bit too high. They didn't place it in the middle of, not in the middle of the stairs, because you don't necessarily want Quartz to shoot it out that easily. But even then, yeah, I don't think that should be an issue for Army West Point University. I mean, they're not really bringing anybody to shut down on the flank, or well, they are actually. I'm sorry, the line being picked, as well as 2 claymores. Melee to somewhere else across the map that isn't where the main attack is pushing from right now. Maybe on the run out, actually.
Yeah, Waffles has already put down a couple, so it looks like they will be used on the run out. And this is a very solid... look at that, perfect. And the exothermic charge doesn't get the kill, but they'll get the finish just fine, as he's just lying right in the wall. And that is a perfect execute onto that main wall. Is the concussions were perfectly placed. They toss in the grenade as well, and they get the exothermic charge down immediately. That is how you get 4 people on the wall at the same time and perfectly coordinate getting that wall open. And not to mention, they're even going to have Quartz use the hard breaching charge to get rid of the Azami barrier and open up a little extra angle just to make potentially watching a diffuser plant even easier, as they're getting all the frags they need to. Lance Fox was taken down first, and now the Azami off the board. Those are the 2 top fraggers for Husson. Across the board otherwise, everybody else has a combined 6 kills, which is less than both Lance Fox and Logical have. And so, I mean, Army West Point, they've gotten big kills, they've gotten impact frags early, and they've gotten the main wall open. And there goes another one. Also down, and this looks like it'll be a West Point.
Yeah. Just the way they're like working the picks, they're working their utility, great combo on the main wall extension. But this can all fall apart if Army West Point aren't careful. They already lose 1 to Stoop. That smoke is not going to be effective against the Warden activating his Gucci watch in order to activate his Ray-Ban glasses. He finds 1, but Waffles taking that control inside is going to get 2. Army West Point University claim another round. 2 rounds in a row for them. Now they put themselves 1-4, and Husson Esports back to the drawing board.
Yeah, the ice was on Ubisoft's wrist, but it wasn't necessarily in his veins. Doesn't have the clutch gene in him to actually pull that one off. And Army West Point are able to take that round pretty cleanly as they go up 4-3. And now winning your first attack is going to be massive. And it's actually Husson going back to the same site, so maybe not as much you can the actual push that we saw onto the main wall last time. So, I mean, hopefully they're just not going to try and hold it too much, and Lance won't give his life away trying to hold it. Maybe if you just try and leave the bandit charges there on the off chance they misplay something, but don't really try and trick it too hard. Or I guess the Jaeger actually is a good adjustment from Alto. It's going to make it harder to get everything through the drone hole all at once, having the Azami as well. You know, it seems Husson are actually going the high road, or they're not going to take the high road. They're not just going to say, you know what, have the wall, we'll try and hold everything else. They're going to do whatever they can to hold this wall away from Army West Point.
Mm-hmm.
Jaeger.
Yeah. I love Azami. I really do. I know a lot of people when she first came out, a lot of people didn't like her. And that's not really because, oh, she sucks or anything. She doesn't suck. She's quite the opposite. A lot of people considered her overpowered and stuff. I mean, she does have rechargeable Kiba barriers. 2 at the beginning, then 3 over the course of the round. But I really do like Azami and what she brings to the meta. I mean, we get to see the util combo here from AWP, using the Lion to stop the bandit in his tracks, but none of that works. The nade comes late. The fires don't nearly create as much space as they were hoping to. They're going to struggle getting this main wall open. I hope they're not going to use, well, they've already used 2 exothermic charges on it, so maybe they're going to try and use the hard breach on it as well. I hope to God they won't do that because they've already wasted so much here anyways.
And they still haven't gotten Lance off this wall. They still have the Mute Jammer and both bandit charges to deal with. And they don't have any impact EMPs left. No frag grenades left to play with in the round. So they have been completely denied of that main wall. So a great job to Husson. Kudos to them. Credit where credit is due. They've done a great job at doing what they could not do last round, is Ubisoft just investing every Kiba barrier and making sure they don't come in through Blue Hallway, or at the very least, if they do, Husson are going to know about it. And Logical is on a deep, deep roam. And ironically enough, like you said it would be ironic if Army West Point weren't clearing the roam super in-depth. They haven't really been. I mean, this roam in particular, if you're going to go to the backside, could be countered by just one well-placed Claymore, or just watching the one staircase that the Vigil could push down. But actually, Soup takes the engagement early, and Logical doesn't go down. That means the Vigil will just be an ever-present player. Although he is low on HP, that presence is going to make a big difference in the Army West Point attack.
Surprised he didn't get that kill because he was holding that for a while. I just think when he backed up a little bit, it kind of like threw his shot off. Plus, Logical shooting at him does make you sway quite a bit anyways, regardless of that. Shiko, or I want to call him Shiko on the thermite here as they readjust the push like I wanted them to. I didn't want them to keep forcing the main wall because they already lost so much on it. Lance, though, is going to be the first to fall. That's already your bandit gone. Soup has claimed the blue despite the roamer here from Logical being an absolute nuisance, or could have been an absolute nuisance for Husson. And Army West Point probably found a way inside of this round, and Soup gets another from blue. Nobody paying attention to it.
Yeah, just kind of like you said, the roam presence could have been such a big nuisance. Whoa, wait a minute, the roam presence is back, and Logical wants to let everyone know he's still a problem, but oh my, as many as he nearly lined up there, it was eventually a good enough situation to get that kill, and Army West Point just had too many bodies on that site to let Logical get away unscathed. The Vigil tried to come back into that round and made a round of it for a little bit. For a brief moment, you were thinking, is this real life? But no, Husson denied that round as well, and they will be sent up to the 2nd floor to try their luck on the master bedroom and office site. If they lose this one out here, it's rough for them. If they can take this round, though, that will at least give them a little bit of confidence in their defenses.
I'm surprised by how easy that seemed for Army West Point towards the end of that round, because like you mentioned before, like we both mentioned, Husson Esports did a fantastic job of completely blocking off the main wall of Mirage and making it so that Army West Point had to readjust their push towards that backside. And you can't say that like Husson Esports didn't know they were going to do that. I mean, you get all the context clues. They can't get main wall. So where else are they gonna go? It's either main stairs or blue stairs. It's either a main stairs or a blue stairs split, or blue hallway split, or it's going to be a backside push. And Husson Esports were prepared for that. What they weren't really prepared for was Soup just going down the blue stairs, and Logical being a little bit too passive in his roam, I mean, to be fair, you don't want to give up your life, but if you know that somebody's actually inside of the building, and they're actually contesting you on that first floor, there's only really one place that they can go, and that's towards blue. That's exactly where Soup went.
Yeah, so, I mean, great job, like you mentioned. In spite of the fact that Husson did everything they could to deny. I mean, at a certain point, it's you do everything right, but it just comes down to who has the better guns at the very end of the round. If you have significantly better shot than your opponent, then you're going to win the fight in a lot of situations, no matter how much it may be stacked against you. And in this case, I feel like we are just seeing, well, it looks like Op just kind of have the better gunfight capability in a lot of situations. And it's not just one player. I mean, Soup, Shiko, and Waffles are all doing well with the fragging. Wait, yeah, how did Waffles get shot? Oh, it was a swing from the bandit at piano. Oh, wow, okay. That's an easy way to deny that. Quartz gets Lance as soon as he comes back into the piano doorway, but unfortunately, Lance, as soon as he got out the piano doorway, was able to get the kill into Waffles. So, the Zofia gets a little over-aggressive, and instead of just a free kill onto the bandit, it's a trade for Quartz, but Quartz gets a completely free kill onto Alto instead. So there goes your Jaeger, and now, one player advantage for Army West Point with 1:30 left in the round. It looks like another fantastic round for the West Point boys, unless Husson have a miracle in them, and they still got 10 kills on him, so, you know, anything could really happen with the Aruni still up.
Oh man, I was gonna say she also has that MK14, and so with that you have the 1.5 sight, but no, you don't. Pepperoni. And oh man, I mean, the gun's not the reason they lost that fight. That's a hard position to spot out from launcher place. He tries to go for a flank. And Husson Esports 2v4. They're just gonna have to pray to God and hope they win their ones, and hope that AWP in turn give them the ones. There goes one. That's a nice shot from Ubisoft. They falls 3v2 in favor of Army West Point. I mean, this is a tough retake for Husson Esports.
Yeah, it's incredibly tough now. It's going to be really tough as Ubisoft tries to make the play to the hallway, can't make it work. And now Snow Game hasn't really had to yet. Soup can't quite see because the Lion is prone as Ubisoft is actually rounded the corner, but Shiko should have this kill pretty easily, and there you go. A clean one and a clean two as Quartz will round out the round, and Husson yet to find a single round on their defensive side. It looks like we are looking at a more attacker-sided Chalet, especially since Army West Point have jumped into the equation. They are now on match point after just 3 attack rounds, and it'll need to be 3 straight defense rounds from Husson, and they haven't really given us too much to be inspired by in their defenses so far.
Yeah, I'm curious to know what you think about this. I saw a Quartz on the outside of that piano window, and I was thinking that somebody from Husson Esports could have taken an opportunity to just jump out on him and remove that position entirely, like from the bathroom, because he had no claymores.
Yeah.
On his window. Zovia's there, so they don't have any claymores in general. I'm curious to know what you think about that.
I mean, what Logical could have... Honestly, Logical, before trying to go for a flank like that, could have gone for an aggressive play such as that. I mean, to do something like that on the run-out, you have to be pretty confident in your actual play. You got to be sure that you're going to be able to get that kill before getting detected or before getting traded by someone who hypothetically could be there. You never know. But yeah, I think that definitely is a good idea, especially once they were down a man, because down a man in that kind of a position, playing against a team like Army West Point, you know they can just play the trades to really good effect. So in that situation, I think Husson could have just shot for the moon and made themselves feel a little bit more safe on the actual site by going for that run out. That's a really good thought that you had there, though. I think definitely would have been a really valid choice. And I think towards higher levels, but not quite the highest level, you would have seen people sort of go for that aggressive play so as to try and bring something back, especially if they were even more down, maybe like down 2 or 3 players even, because you need to do something aggressive and unpredictable to get back into the game. But like at the highest level, they would have had something prepared for that, and that wouldn't have been just an easy to get without getting, you know, taken down run out. So, but yeah, I think that definitely would have been a good play, and that kind of goes to show that Husson haven't been super aggressive in places they could have been.
Well, Husson go to the site the second time in a row. Actually, I was gonna.
What happened?
Oh my god, I don't really know. I'm surprised that none of these teams are gonna go for kitchen. But as of recently, I know that a lot of teams in competitive play and even in unranked are starting to now prefer office site, even though it's probably one of the worst sites to defend on the game. Piano's such a hard place to control, and you already see Lance kind of backed into a corner here, but Snow finds the first kill, and that's onto Quartz. That removes a player who's very deadly and very influential in the last round, Army West. Also an import operator too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Capital makes it worlds easier to get into the actual site, and Logical has the flank opportunity. Might not be able to spot anybody now, but later could absolutely be crucial in winning out this round, and hears that they're there. Just needs to wait. Play some patient gameplay, Logical, and you might just get rewarded for it, as now would be the perfect time to go. Sees one, but only barely gets the tag. Doesn't even get a knock, and Shiko's able to get a kill elsewhere. So now they know Logical is pretty far away off the site, and they're able to get it back to an even player count across both ends of the map, as it's just kind of Lance playing a corner, hoping to get one. Waffles might have even spotted him there, but no, it's just going to be the default plant. Nobody underneath, nobody there to deny it. And it's actually such an open plant as well, but Army West Point did a great job clearing out the site, and now Dave able to get one, Shiko able to get one as well. It's only left to Lance, Fox, and Alto. They want to keep Husson in this map, but now it's down to just Alto. 1-8 on the map. It would need to be a miracle play from perhaps the most unlikely candidate in this lobby at the moment. As a Halto, just needs to watch to the right side for now. Could find the first kill. They're watching him closely. Knows the angle's being pre-fired. Can't spot anybody just yet, but Waffles is able to lock it out, and Army West Point steal Husson's map pick away from them in decisive fashion. That's a 7-3 win on Chalet, and we will go to Oregon with Army West Point one map in the advantage.
Yeah, tough pill to swallow for Husson Esports University, as I mean, once it switched to that defense, it was kind of it just like the pendulum just completely like boom like that. It's crazy, absolutely insane there from Army West Point University. But I mean, Army West Point. But I mean, looking at that match, what was like one thing that you really like saw in Hudson Esports' or Hudson University's defense that made you think, well, you know, why do we keep doing it if it's like not working?
I think in particular they just like, I know when you mentioned the run out issue at one point, that was a pretty good just sort of like embodiment of the fact that Husson, they weren't really going for the big plays that you need to make, and a lot of times players sort of in competitive who are more used to ranked, not used to actually playing the competitive lobbies, they might just get used to, I mean, I see it with some of my teammates who are less experienced in this ECAC league. They have this problem where they don't necessarily peak as aggressively and take the initiative. They don't play around Peeker's advantage on defense. The whole point of Peeker's advantage is that you can play with it on the defensive side to like peek around the corner at the right time. But people are very comfortable just kind of holding an angle or playing one spot not as aggressively as you should be, because part of the thing that makes it so hard to attack a spot on a map is if somebody's constantly like pre-firing it, or you know somebody's there and they're a serious threat because they're playing it so aggressively. That is something that we didn't really see from Husson. They were just kind of leaning, like just kind of sitting back and saying, you know what, you can have it, you can have the map control, you can open up that wall, it's perfectly fine, we have no issue with that. They were putting a little bit too much pressure on Logical to make big plays on the roam, and they were putting a little too much pressure on everybody on the site to win fights that weren't necessarily advantageous. So hopefully on Oregon, they'll be able to set up more advantageous, gunfights for themselves, and also they'll be able to, just get a lot of big impact plays on the roam and hold some stuff that isn't necessarily just the site. Because on Oregon, I'm curious to see if they're going to play like Blue Elbow, if they're going to play that as aggressively as you could and actually try and hold that, or if they'll just forfeit it and try and like bandit trick the wall. Stuff like that on Oregon. You can hold, you can try and extend your hold on the site, and that's something I'd like to see from Husson, but I'm not so sure we will see it. And if we do see it, I think it'll be a much more competitive map, but if not, I'm going to lean towards Army West Point on this next one.
Passivity was like a common theme that we saw from Hudson University on their defenses here on Chalet, and usually on other maps that's not really an issue, especially not on a map as defender-sided as Oregon. But on Chalet, where it's really all about the map control, as almost all of the maps are, Chalet is heavy on map control. If you even lose 1 ounce of map control in that map, you are toast for the defense. And so that's what we saw a lot of the times. They weren't really contesting, at least in the few defenses that we were able to see, they weren't really contesting for a lot of that map control. But I mean, that's the first map over and done with. We will go to our second map, which is Oregon. That is Army West Point University's pick. But before we get to Oregon, before we go into the desert or the middle of nowhere as Oregon is located, we will take a short break and we will be back with you guys soon.
Hey guys, KTAD here, and just like that, another season of ECAC Esports regular season play has come to a close. Over the last 8 weeks, we saw a crazy amount of hype competition from some of the best collegiate esports has to offer, and as usual, you guys have me one last time to break it all down and to show you guys what we thought were some of the top plays this week. And honestly, guys, I don't have much more to say. Just check it out because I think we've got some really incredible clips here. Let's take a look. In our opening clip, it's Professor Dementium with a straight boot off the stage to kick things off for Bloomfield.
Got himself one. Kick back off stage though. Little air dodge is going to be that Bowser. He'll do it again, and he'll also bring himself that down smash so he gets quickly back before that Talk is able to take any sort of advantage. But well, you're gone. The spikes come through. Let's clean kick to wrap things up, and well, he's got one. He's got one stock for his troubles.
Up next, the duel of Donkers and Robeast have some things to say with this beautiful 1-2 combo to close the door on Albany.
Hit the intersection and go straight up in the air for Robeast, who's going to work Central Missouri into the offense. Flip reset's a good one. The pass down to Donkers, and he finds the net. A 3-goal deficit in Game 3.
I gotta say, Curtis, it seems like after these two teams came out of Game 2, right? Again.
In our next play, who needs to be able to see your enemy when you can just take a educated guess?
Great, 1-for-1 over towards Catwalk. There's still more where that came from. Myranium is next up, and he will take a couple too many fights. Solsta as well is going to be able to take a couple of fights, winning them both. It's a 1v3, and Novacorium won't be able to do anything. Johnson, Wales.
At number 5, it's Saltonics with this huge flank onto Cole College to secure Temple of Anubis for his team.
Right now, it's got to be just destroying it straight up. Maybe with the Coalescence, maybe the Supercharger, but that Retire could just immediately rip through.
Here's that Riptire. It does move Joker, but it could have been a catastrophic play. Now Nightbolt is pulled all the way off the point, and that's an easy one. Tonic's coming in with a triple off of that crucial Rocket Barrage, and that is all of them off the point.
Now it's down to Joker just to get the touch onto the point. Tracer.
Coming back to the Bloomfield versus Keen matchup, it was a clutch finish from Zenipu as he finishes off Brandon without dropping a single stock.
No, one more Lisa on life. Lisa on life indeed for Brandon. Looking to hold the ledge, but a recovery from Zenipu. He says second time's the charm. He'll send him to the moon, and once again, Zenipu will not drop a stock.
Last packing our way into the number 2 spot though, it's a 4K from Butta to cement the lead for Providence College.
Back roads around the high ground to try and avoid that as much as possible.
Oh my absolute days! Here was me looking for that Transcendence to counteract the grab, and no, it was just a big fat go button. In comes the pulse bomb, down goes SUNY Poly Wildcats.
Phil, I can't remember the last time I've seen...
Last packing our way into the number 2 spot though, it's a 4K from Butta to cement the lead for Providence College.
Not much more. That tab can go a long way in the latter half, right? Now Retna bringing out that stimmy, trying to get the opportunity to move the team in forward. Okay, there's that showstopper I was thinking about. It looks like D-Nuns is going to have that show stopped. Sal, not particularly far behind, a 4v2. But really starting to wake up here on the race.
Yeah, wow, so impressive. And 4K there, just going straight through the entire team like a bulldozer. Will not stop until all are taken down.
And in our top play from the last week of regular season play, It is a nail-biter last-second goal that will keep you guessing until the very end.
Leaves their own open. A little bit of high pass. You angle it in, but it's just off the top of the goalpost.
Top of the goalpost coming in deep. Matrix able to find something here. The demolition comes through. 7 seconds left for a true game win, but in overtime feeling incredibly likely. But tied out of a wide open goal. No! Orbital, the waffle iron has been flipped, and Farmingdale finds themselves up 4-3. 2 seconds left on the clock. The only hope for Louisville to win this out is with a kickoff goal. They cannot make a single mistake, or they will.
And with that, I mean, what more do you guys want me to say? It was a crazy week to wrap things up, but it's really just been a crazy season overall with the addition of Division A and what I personally think is some of the most competitive action here in collegiate esports. I mean, what a season, and there's only much more to come. With the playoffs starting on April 4th, you guys can expect to see a lot more action that will continue all throughout the month, and that will wrap up on the week of April 25th. Now, if you guys want to stay up to date on all of that, make sure you follow us on Twitter at ECAC_esports, or follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/ECAC_esports. Mondays and Tuesdays, matches will be lighting off at 8 p.m. Eastern. On Wednesdays, it is going to be the doubleheader of Rocket League and Overwatch at 7 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys are tuned in. And as for me and the rest of the crew behind the scenes that works on not only just the production, but these highlight videos for you guys, we just want to say thank you for joining us for what has been another incredible season. And we look forward to so much more that we're going to bring you guys in the next school year, in the fall and the spring and beyond. We've got a lot of great things coming, so stick around, don't go anywhere. Come back right here to this channel, to this Twitter, to this Twitch, to this YouTube, wherever it is you see this. Stay tuned, because even more is on the way. Thank you guys once again. I've been KTAD. It's been a wonderful season, and we'll see you next time.
Hello, welcome back to map number 2 between Husson Esports versus Army West Point. If you didn't miss, or if you did miss our first map, which was Chalet, then shame on you, because you should have been here for it. It was a dominating win from Army West Point. I'm kidding, but it was a dominating win from Army West Point. At least when they got onto their attacks, it was very balanced early on, but it was a 7-3 win for the Gladiators, or if you want to call them Gladiators, Army West Point. They have like a little gladiator symbol on their thingy, so I was like,
it's
the
definitely
Gladiators.
something of that. It's definitely something of that like vein. Like, I mean, I don't know if Army because would it just be the West Point actual like sports logo, or do you think they have a different one for their like esports team? I don't know. Band phases are boring, so you might as well just talk about this instead. Let's see, Army West Point logo. What is it? It's the Black Knights. Okay, so it's kind of like Rutgers. Yeah. Army. Okay, so they're the Black Knights. Rutgers is the Scarlet Knights. I live kind of close to Rutgers at home. Anyways, regardless of that tangent, Husson and Op are into their second map of the series. This is Oregon. It was picked by Army West Point, and Husson have chose to start on the defensive side. Now, we're going to need to see immediately some improvements on the defensive end for Husson, because we saw them be very lackluster, as this time around they banned the Jackal. It's a Thatcher ban from Army West Point for the attackers, so that's what Husson won't have to deal with on their defense. We'll see now who they will actually not be able to play, but we make such a big deal out of the defense here as Mira's banned, because Husson, they didn't win a single defensive round last map. They won 3 for 3, or they went 3 for 6 in their first half, and then for the rest of the game, they lost 4 straight once they got on defense. So I'm anticipating some better play from Husson, as Smoke is off the board now on defense as well. An interesting ban for Husson.
Yeah, I mean, Smoke, with how powerful he is, especially because there's not really a meta where Smoke has not been involved in it at all in Siege. I can't really remember a meta where he's not been useful at all. But even despite how powerful he is within comp, within rank, even within the casual scene, he doesn't get a lot of bans. He does not get banned a lot at all, even despite how effective he is. His utility can be game-winning, round-winning, And we've seen some amazing clutches, especially like throughout the competitive scene history with Smoke. And he does not get banned a lot because nobody sees the reason to. You can play around it. But even then, interesting ban from Husson Esports, along with the Jackal too.
Yeah, I mean, the Jackal might make sense if they want to play a more aggressive. I mean, last round, or last map rather, is a more accurate way of putting it. We saw them on Chalet play people further off the site in isolated spots, and Jackal is a way to counter that. However, Jackal isn't necessarily good on Oregon, and they weren't, Army were not really running Jackal on Chalet too frequently. So the fact that they banned Jackal coming into this one is a bit of a curious decision, but I mean, they're not running Maverick either, so that was their ban on the last map, and I don't think it necessarily was too important of a ban on Oregon, as now it looks like, yeah, we already see Logical pretty far off the site. A Jackal would be a perfect operator to clear a roam like the one that Logical is on now, so it makes sense that they ban it. My best guess is for the Smoke ban would probably be like they don't want to play spots like Elbow and Blue, so they don't want it to be used against them, and the best operator to use in spots like that is the Smoke. And so, I mean, the Smoke definitely was super good against Husson when they were doing their attacks last map. I know a couple of rounds. Was it who was on Smoke? Was it Dave? I want to say, because I know it wasn't Sheikah, it wasn't Waffles, I don't think it was Quartz. I want to say it was Dave, but regardless of who it was and what rounds, the Smoke was an impactful operator last round, as Waffles already into Trophy with just a minute off the clock. Really quick, nice roam clear here from Army West Point, even without the Jackal.
I mean, yeah, we talked about this for Husson Esports, is that they're like, they don't necessarily like to aggressively defend or map control, and seeing their setup on the second floor, usually, if a team is wanting to defend that trophy area, if they want to defend Master Bedroom, they have a setup in Trophy. They literally have shields. You'll stack up the Wamai disc, the Jaeger, if neither one of them is banned, mute cameras, the 9 drones, orange drones in particular. And already, I mean, they're already inside of this area getting the wall open. The first kill seems to be onto Soup, and, well, that's not an operator you want to use in the OSA.
Yeah, the OSA is so crucial for trying to get that plant down. Is getting the diffuser on the ground can be so massive, so much easier with the OSA. Snow Game is going to get another one. There goes Waffles, who was hotly contesting a couple players inside the attic. One in the attic and one playing the rotate into the attic from Kids. Either way, both of those players are still alive. And, well, another player is going to go down for Army West Point. And then another one, Logical, finally coming through on the roam the way his teammates wanted him to all game. And it basically leads to a round win for Army West Point. It was already a good start, or rather, a round win for Husson. It was already a good start, but it's an even better finish now that Logical has come alive. However, not able to get the third to finish off the round in flawless fashion. It's Chico taking that kill. Could he get the second one? No, not watching the right angle. A good kill at the very end for Legit Scares, who I think is actually the sub in for map number 2. I don't believe we saw Scares in the previous one. And, well, getting into the lineup this time around for Husson, and already an improvement in terms of defensive rounds won, as it would be hard to get worse from winning 0 last map. They start things off with a round win.
Yeah, Army West Point didn't really seem like they had a plan to really enter inside of the site. They were kind of just spread out all over the place, not really put into positions that couldn't necessarily have helped them. You have 3 players inside of Trophy. You could have split off into Attic, maybe, open up the Attic wall, and then try and make an execute happen onto the game's wall once you get Attic control. They didn't really do that. You have 2 players going up white stairs. You only really need 1, so they were just spread out all over the map and not really getting any prosperity from all of the land that they claimed.
Bomb located by attack.
To try and come up with a decent enough decent enough. I don't even know what to call it. Crap, I keep forgetting my wordplay here. But anyways, it's crazy.
You spent so much effort on coming up with a decent remark that you forgot how to refer to the decent remark. It's the wonders of casting, the joys of casting, if you will.
But yeah, like I said, they didn't really seem like they had anything planned. The lack of pressure in Attic, and then also not really figuring out what they wanted to do with that execute with the amount of map control that they had, it seemed pretty obvious to me.
Yeah, I mean, just really good really good job executing that defense. And I thought it was interesting the way Husson defended that with the Legion at the bottom of the white stairs. I'm assuming if we go back to the top floor and they choose to play something similarly, one of the first things that Op will probably do is open that white stairs window. As here's Lance Fox, the hole open already into meeting, trying to hold the back staircase, and actually gets the first kill coming down the tower stairs and gets back to site okay. Lives to tell the tale of getting the opening frag onto Waffles, and that's 2 pretty rough rounds to start with for the Zofia, immediately dying in the second round after being the second fatality in the first. And Army West Point, they didn't get it done in the first round, and although they're going to open up blue here, as I'm not going to toot my own horn too much, but toot like I had predicted, they're not holding aggressively that elbow position. So the smoke ban actually proves to be a decent idea, and they're still able to get opening frags regardless, as Lance Fox gets that early kill without needing to hold blue, and they allow blue wall to be opened, but you're already down a player, and Husson have so many players in so many corners of the map that are yet to be even close to discovered, and these Captain drops could be massive, as there goes half of Dave's HP due to one of them.
Well, this is a tough one for Army West Point, right? Because you lose that Sophia, you give away a lot of utility, you lose those concussives, you considerably don't really have a lot of utility to help you clear all of these areas. Plus, you're challenging 1v1s against Houston or Husson, sorry, and you're losing them.
Okay.
And also Ubisoft was unbeknownst to Army West Point still on some type of extent on those rear stage stairs. And Husson Esports get a second round in a row. I mean, again, Lance has been kind of big, at least in the opening 2 rounds, just getting the opening picks at least. But also for Army West Point, I felt like they kind of played right into Husson Esports' hand, especially with the lack of elbow control. Husson Esports wanted them to do that. They did it, and they kind of just like gave up 1v1s. Just a really ugly execution in there from Army West Point, but a good execution there from Husson Esports, their own defense.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the interesting things, and sort of like an argument towards, especially at this kind of a level, an argument for the idea behind, like, okay, we'll give them map control for free off the start of a round. Why would you do that per se? Because, well, maybe it looked like this might have happened last round to Army West Point. They were so caught up in the fact that we have blue for free that everybody was stacked up on blue. They didn't clear basically anywhere else on the map. Not Freezer. They tried to get to the tower stairs, but it took them a really long time to deal with Lance Fox, and they lost somebody in the process. Instead of just clearing tower from the top down, there was nobody in T3. You probably could have been able to deal with Ubisoft and Lance Fox in actually clearing that, and also clearing meeting, because they had a hole open to the back stairs, so it would have been even harder for, it was Lance actually, yeah it was, Lance Fox to play there anymore, and here it is now, Soup, starting off the round in a very distant part of the map. This is a much better approach from Army West Point, doing what they didn't do last time around, clearing a large amount of the map first, and spreading everybody out so we're not all focused on the same thing. Find different spots into the map, and finally, Waffles is going to win the opening duel. This time it's Lance Fox losing the opening fight, and the Zofia is onto the board in the kill department. Good opening frag for Waffles, and now Husson actually on the back foot for the first time really all map.
Something had to give. Lance, unfortunately for his team, had to fall, and I mean, that's the Legion. And the Legion is the only one who can see where his Goo Mines are placed, thus giving off intel to his team. But even then, those Legion Goo Mines do give off a big sound cue, so, you know, at least he's still effective in depth as he was in live.
Okay.
A nice swing there from Ubisoft to take a gunfight. You just unfortunately got pinched there in Attic between the trophy hold from the Zof and also the Attic, or Attic hold there from Suit. They get this top 4 control. I mean, your Sludge is dead, but you still have the Buck alive. So you can still make some good use off of these vertical angles being made on this top 4 if you're Army West Point.
And I'm really happy with that swing there from Ubisoft. Even if it just went 1-for-1, I would have liked to see him go even further and try and swing further to actually kill the player in trophy as well. But it shows that they recognized last time we weren't taking enough aggressive fights when we were down a player. And so even going 1-for-1 in that spot is better than what we would have equivalently seen on Chalet, which is basically just if Ubisoft had just kind of sat there and died. Wasted a bit more time, but they would have been down 2 players. This time, actually trying to make something happen and get a big kill. They end up making it a 1-for-1. Now Soup Headed down the staircase. Might not know that there's one hard right, but a missed shots from Snowgame means that Soup doesn't actually go down. Runs away with his life and then gets the kill. That's highway robbery, and I don't know how it's worked out, but now it's looking rougher and rougher for Husson. It's only legit scarce and logical. And as good as logical has been, and as good as legit scarce has been in his first couple of rounds, it doesn't look super likely. This looks like a good round for Army West Point, especially as legit scarce goes down. It's basically full control of every aspect of his site. And Husson, it's all on logical to try and retake into the objective, but it's not looking likely.
15 seconds to go.
He's gonna try and retake on these the second floor here. I don't see nobody here from Army West Point holding this. So, curious decision, and they also readjusted their plant right in front of the meeting hall hatch. So potentially, the logical just like sped it up a little bit. He could have denied the plant in the first place, but he gets 2 big picks. 1v2 in favor of, or not, sorry, I was going to say in favor of the alibi, but it's in favor still of Army West Point, but still a good opportunity for him. Gets rid of the thermite charge, even though he didn't necessarily need to, but also that gives a cue to Army West Point of where the last buy of the alibi is. He finds another. It doesn't seem like Army West Point are really playing for trades here. They're just playing to give up ones, and it is logical to get the 1v4 clutch. A huge clutch from Logical, and a big round for Husson Esports as they get away with one.
What a play from Logical that was. I mean, doesn't get credit for the last kill, so unfortunate there, but still a fantastic kill, a series of kills there. Every single fight was perfectly played, and like you said, it didn't look like it was going to be significant, but nobody holding that top floor was insane. That should not have been the case at all for Army West Point, and Husson are able to steal around off the back of the fact that the entire top floor was being held by a drone that wasn't being watched by the dead guy, and a claymore that was very easily shot. That was their whole plan to hold the top floor. Everybody just dropped. That was not a very good, well thought out plan from Army West Point. They give Logical the perfect avenue back in, takes all the right fights at all the right times, and you couldn't have asked for more clean of an execute in that 1 versus 4. Logical is going absolutely crazy. I would love to hear the comments from Husson right now. Unfortunately, don't think we have the ability to do that. However, Husson, I already know that's going to be a massive morale booster. And this is Army West Point's map pick, and being that not well adjusted for something as typical as a retake of the top floor in a 1 versus 4 where you were at the advantage is a massive mistake to make in this kind of scenario.
Yeah, everybody was just in the same area at the same time. And then there was also a player rotating up the rear stage, up big tower stairs to watch the attic, to watch attic catch, but that came way later. And that was one of the first kills, or that was actually the first kill from Logical to get in that 1v4. Yeah, it's absolutely insane from Fragger, or the main entry Fragger here for Husson Esports. As again, like I said in that last round, they stole one with that 1v4 clutch. That shouldn't have happened, but something as simple as just watching that second floor, as watching that attic, just loses them that round. It's crazy how small the margins in Siege can, or not how small little mistakes like that can be huge margins in claiming you rounds in Siege.
What?
Really?
What is going?
He gets
that
no
worked.
Help. No help.
That worked.
You know the LeBron meme. You know the LeBron meme. No help. No help.
No help. And why did Logical still jump out? Why did he even bother? You already got the kill on the one guy who was balcony. You didn't have to jump out. I mean, you were saying it's like the LeBron meme of no help, but I mean, that's like if Logical tried to come back to help and just completely just screwed up in a situation that was just not necessary. I mean, the solo Osa on the window, not aware enough of the possibility of someone jumping out, tried to just play with only the shield, and now Ubisoft is able to get another kill as well. This is a tragic start to the round for Army West Point. And I mean, you finally have a really good round last round, you throw it away, and you lose it in a situation that should not have even been losable, conceivably. And now, the next round starts off really rough, but there's still a chance of clawing this back, as Dave is going to start things off well. And there goes Quartzy, able to get that next kill, and that's Logical down too. So I already know that Army West Point are specifically calling out, hey, that's Logical dead, because he's been such an impact player, and after a 1vx like that, you could only imagine how much they are focused on just killing Logical. As for Army West Point, nobody's standing above the pack as a massive performer quite yet, but they haven't even won a round, so looking for them to do that first before we look for a massive performer, as there's only 35 seconds left, and Dave is just now opening up into Attic. Chico has barely even opened up into the opposite side of Attic, and Snow Game has done a great job delaying this time, so the Kaid can just gladly fall back to the site. As long as he doesn't get swung, it's not a problem, and legit scarce. Able to get that kill on a Dave. Now it's only Chico and Quartz left to try and work things out for Army West Point, and they've only got 15 seconds to do it, and they don't have Quartz anymore. It's only Chico. Diffuser in hand, so it could be possible, but it's not really plausible or likely. Those two are not words you can use to describe the situation, and now that the goo mine is in his ankle, everybody knows exactly where to look for this last kill, and it's a 4th consecutive round for Husson to start off AWP's map pick.
Lance is just going huge in the entries right now. I mean, I cannot get that first few seconds of the round out of my head. It literally, I literally had a flash back to the LeBron meme that I keep seeing on Twitter all the time.
It's so funny though. I love it. It's great.
No help. And he's so disappointed in the picture. He has his keys in that he's in Cleveland Cavaliers, and at that point, LeBron didn't have no help. Just like how Soup didn't have any help in a big window. I mean, I get the idea with the also playing in a big window because you have those you have the shields, but also that you have those shields. You also have a claymore on the windows of the small tower as well. It was just the timing of Lance taking that engagement with him, and plus him trying to switch back to his guns. And then he's probably screaming, panicking in the call, saying, "Oh my God, I'm being pushed here. I'm trying to switch back to my gun." And then the moment he switches back to his gun, he gets pistol up. So I understand the fear there. You want to be critical of a Soup at first, but you're very vulnerable when you have those close kills in front of your face.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, it was a curious decision to even try and play with the shield that far out. Okay, Snow Game can pick that up. It's not the end of the world, right? Yeah. Okay. Oh, no, yeah, that actually did get the walls. Never mind. Okay. I was worried for a sec. That was one of those kites you see put too far out of reach that literally doesn't do anything. So it's just kind of like an electro claw for decoration or whatever. But no, it's not a useless electro claw. Here goes Lance Fox. Ever so eager to go the opening pick route and not able to get it there, but loses a little HP, takes a little off Chico. I would say, as the Legion, you don't really like losing HP in and of yourself, but I mean, being able to take it off of the ace of all players is absolutely a massive, massive advantage to you because that's your hard breach, losing some health. But Lance Fox, you were commending him on the ability to get the opening picks. Well, this time actually loses the fight to Dave. However, even last time we saw Lance Fox as the first player to die, that was Waffles to get that kill.
Wait, what?
This time has gone down. Wait, Ubisoft is just allowed to play T3 for free. Okay.
This is funny.
All right. No, I mean...
No,
yeah,
wait, no way.
Okay.
No
Oh,
way.
yeah, no, yeah, right. Let's not... We don't need to worry about that. Trust me.
Right.
How did the logical even...
He's just there.
So many questions.
He's everywhere. Soup is now in pillars. Nobody's holding this.
Oh, yeah.
From they still haven't cleared the player in T3.
Okay.
And now we're gonna see Soup resting Nana fixing his wounds. And there goes the Lion to be called. But the 3 players in their place says Army West Point. They seem to have some way inside of the site here. Maybe not.
Yeah, it looks like the adaptation to the strategy of putting a lot of people in very obsolete corners of the map for Husson is AWPE are just gonna run straight into the site then, but no. Surely they didn't miss this spot. Surely. Oh, they spotted him on the comeback. Yep, they got him. Okay. The first time around, the drone didn't check the hard left corner, but eventually, Legit Scarce's position was snuffed out and dealt with as Soup. Able to get that kill, and now into the 3 versus 3 post plan on Logical. Trying to swing around quickly. Can't get the first kill, though. And so now has to try and fire on the diffuser, plant her, but can't do that either. But Soup caught in a corner, and that's the advantage now of the retaking defenders. And the diffuser defenders of Dave and Chico need to work together, but overly aggressive goes Dave, and now it's just Chico alone. A little bit low from the engagement early, but even lower now that Ubisoft steps in and gets a massive headshot with the spear. It's a 4-0 lead, now a 5-0 lead for Husson, as they can do everything from clutch to retake as a squad to just wipe you out with the early picks. I don't even understand what Army West Point are supposed to do at this point, because everything they try just falls flat on its face.
Well, Try clearing Big Tower.
Yeah, try clearing more of the map.
I mean, yeah, that's one thing that they've been struggling with is actually like at least when it comes to like meeting or not even like meeting sites, at least when it comes to basement, they seem to really like they didn't allow it on Chalet, and it's easier to really deny and cut off a lot of the roam on Chalet because of how attacker sided it is. But on Oregon, you if you miss drone, it's like theme park. So if we go to theme park, I'm very scared for Army West Point because if they struggle to clear Oregon, they're going to struggle clearing theme park. And that's what we're seeing here, at least in that basement site in particular, because it was glaringly obvious what the issues were, and that was just not really clearing enough of the map to work with. You're pushing in Big Tower, and you don't clear T3.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on?
And also, they have a hole in from meeting, and you're not clearing meeting either. It's like, it's not really out of sight, out of mind. It still very much needs to be in mind if you're not necessarily staring at meeting hall. Like, have some kind of plan in place. Like, we don't want to be overly critical, but at the same time, these are very essential steps to an attack of a spot like that. And it really just, like, they're kind of missing these steps of, like, droning out the rest of the map. I mean, they're just taking the spots that they know they need to actually attack, and maybe, like, the room next to that, but not necessarily worrying consistently about taking every aspect of it. Like, they're clearing tower when they need to get tower to go into attic, but when they can just go to the tower stairs, they're not clearing all of tower. They're just, like, convincing themselves they can just, like, walk down all the way without fully clearing that part of the map. And it's a really big mistake on their part, and it hasn't even changed. We were talking about that after round 1, and we're at round 5, going into round 6, and still talking about that issue. That needs to be worked on for AWPE.
Yeah.
Especially since it's theme park next.
Yeah, I mean, we said Chalet was a dominating performance from AWPE. We're not quite at match point yet, but we might be there soon enough if Army West Point don't fix the issues in their attacks. Again, these are like, I feel like these are, I wouldn't say they're simple mistakes, they're simple, like, fixes, simple mistakes. As it's a nice trade back. You do lose your thermite, so you lost your only hard breacher on the meeting dining site.
Oh no.
But I mean, at least you still have the Buck and Capital alive, and you have 4 hard breach gadgets between the 2 of them. So I mean, that's pretty good. You don't, you lose your main hard breacher, that's bad, but at least you still have 2 more or 4 more to work with.
They're not even gonna try and clear the top floor anymore. They've just decided against it. Like, they lose one up there, and now they're going mostly towards, like, lateral control, but they don't have even controlled, like, at all. And so Soup is going to try and break in. They're going to try and take control into kitchen. And I'm assuming they're, like, expecting that maybe they'll be able to just overwhelm the site to such an extent that they can just get a plant down somewhere. But, I mean, not having the top floor control and trying to force a plant somewhere didn't really do you any favors last time. So Army West Point, once again, doing something similar to the thing they did last round. So, judging by the fact that they haven't really won a round yet, it might not be the wisest of ideas. Lance is going to have such an advantageous angle to play with. He just needs to play passively here. Cannot get too over-aggressive. And doesn't quite get the first one, but there it is. Drops the diffuser with it as well. And now, going to try and switch to the pistol, but just needs to fall off his angle. The presence is more than enough to hold them out, but no, wants even more kills as Soup. Deep into the site, only barely 10 HP left on him. And there's another one for Legit Scarce. And Lance Fox joins the party as well. Why not let everybody into it as Legit Scarce will get another one. And Husson make it a flawless defensive half to almost shut out Army West Point's map pick. And map 3 looks likely, and it is going to happen unless Army West Point can do exactly what Husson just did and win every single defensive round.
I was about to say it, like, during your whole cast, and I was thinking it the whole time. I was like, surely they're not gonna go for a dining execute.
Surely
not clear kitchen hatch.
I was like trying to make it seem like it could work, but like no, you need to clear at least the kitchen hatch. Like they could play everywhere else in the kids' dorms, but if they're playing that hatch, you're not getting in. Like even though I know that could have been like, I don't like to talk too much about the mechanical skills of players not being up to like professional levels, because obviously they're not. This is collegiate. This isn't like a big collegiate league for money with teams that are like paying people on scholarships to play Siege. This is like just people who enjoy playing Siege for fun. So I don't want to bring up the fact that it could have been better executed by the player upstairs, who I believe was that Lance Fox again. He missed a few shots there, which isn't even important because, like, even when he's missed a few critical shots, they still didn't have much of a chance. That just shows how important a spot that is to get rid of. And Army West Point just didn't even bat an eye. They were just like, oh, we're just not gonna bother. What? We went 1 for 1 at the start of the round? Okay, let's just completely abandon the push we were going for before and go for a one-dimensional, just ramming our heads into a brick wall, metaphorically, and seeing what sticks is Waffles. That's a freebie. No, he's missed it.
Oh wow.
Unlucky
But
for
I mean,
Waffles.
Yeah, I mean, he does a lot of damage here on the Twitch, though.
Mhm.
Very
Yeah,
low
no,
on
it's
HP. So, I mean,
yeah, like it was just an unfortunate situation.
Right.
Just moving a little too quickly, and then barely missed a couple of those shots. Combine that with the fact that the Brony doesn't have a lot of ammo in the mag, and you know, it's a recipe for not quite a kill, but still good damage done and message sent. I'd be surprised if Husson weren't going more methodically this time around. His legit scares. Well, it seems that we found our Rook Fuse main, a resident Rook Fuse main of Husson Esports, the oh so popular combination for new players. I remember my good old days back on Xbox when I started as a Rook Fuse main, but just gets domed through the barricade, and now this is a pretty rough start to the round for Husson, and maybe a little bit of hope. A flash in the pan, if you will, for Army West Point.
Yeah.
A little.
Yeah, a little. Doesn't Esports still have, I'm gonna say have a chance this round? I think they do, but they're not necessarily going, they're doing the same thing that I've seen a lot of teams in ECAC do. And that's not really go for like a lot of like a lot of full clears. And you don't see Husson doing that a lot. They're getting screwed up too. So Waffles gets another kill in dining. Was at first I thought he was like backing up from the doorway. I thought Logical was just gonna get a freebie there. He did get a freebie. He got Waffles. Doesn't lose any HP neither. She's gonna take control of these top of white stairs. So I mean, there goes some control surrender to the attack. And AWP, I mean, they have a lot of positions around the site, at least in Attic as well as in the rest of the site to work off of. Plus, you still have Quartz roaming, and we know how deadly Quartz has been on the roam, at least from Chalet's perspective.
Yeah, and well, the roam was effective here. There goes Logical dead to the roamer, and Quartz looking for more, trying to get aggressive, but nobody on that window. As soon as they walk into little closet, though, it'll be a pretty easy kill for Quartz, but not likely to happen. The snow game just runs it straight in a trophy. Ubisoft might just try and cover his teammate from the outside, from the balcony, but Quartz should have the kill. No, it's actually Soup who gets the kill instead. The shotgun staring right at the opened hole, and Soup's gonna get the second one as well, just for good measure. Double up with the M590. It's oh so deadly in the Mossberg, able to get a couple to lock in at least one round for Army West Point, and this is what it's gonna be. It's gonna be a long, arduous trek back to 6, and it starts with 1.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
That's precisely what I'm telling you, yes.
This would have to be, and this line has been said so many times, this would have to be a Tom Brady type deal from Husson Esports. Because they were 6-0 up, they're now 6-1 up, so they still have a really healthy lead here on Oregon. They have plenty of rounds to fall back on as well. You know, they can afford to lose a couple rounds. On the primary and the secondary site choices here for AWP. What would be very troubling is if we go to the tertiary site choice after Army West Point wins round, and that's assuming that they do. I would have an issue if somehow, some way, Army West Point were to win the tertiary sites, which is the middle 4 sites, and that's either dining kitchen or kitchen meeting. So that's when the worry starts to set in once we see Army West Point go to that tertiary site, and if we see Husson Esports lose it. I'm not too worried for them right now because, you know, you do lose one of the more defender-sided sites on this map. And also you have basement to come up against, and basement is a very hard site to attack on regardless. Even with the smoke ban in play, you can still play around the smoke ban and make this site such a turtle heaven for the defense.
Yeah, I think even when looking at Husson's defensive half as well, it kind of is good to look at the sort of that playing of the tertiary site and that loss in the 1 versus 4 against Logical as sort of the turning point in the last half. I mean, it looks like it could have been a really good round for AWPE, and it was like, okay, they'll get 1 round, maybe even like 2 or 3 on their attack. You wouldn't have been outrageous to think that. But they lose that round, and then through the rest of the half, they don't really have another close one. I mean, they had a couple times when they were able to, like, there was one time on basement, they got the diffuser down, but they didn't play the post plant super well. They had some shots here and there, but it sort of all changed after they lost into the tertiary site that first time around. Is Logical making sure to clear every aspect of the map with his face, just in case missed an aspect of it with the drone and wasn't able to find somebody in a crucial spot. As Snow Game's already lost a ton of HP. That's the Thermite. I would say, all right, chill just for now and maybe lay off the aggressive gunfights. Nobody is holding the blue elbow this time around. Seems the Smoke Van did the job for Husson, and Shiko is able to get the opening kill, but Logical just turns around on Quartz, able to get that frag, but Shiko has found legit scares, and I was looking for another! But that's actually Soup going down to Logical. And so it's 2 kills for Shiko, answered directly afterwards by 2 kills for Logical. And it's the Dokkaebi and the Kaid going back and forth. As Logical's going to leave a drone at the top of the stairs, tell one of his teammates to watch it, has spotted somebody out on that flank, but Shiko's got a 3rd kill, so Logical's going to need to answer back, and in big fashion, because Shiko's on a quad, has dropped just about everybody but Logical, and now it's only the Dokkaebi to deal with, looking for the headshot with the secondary pistol, but oh no. Barely any HP left on Shiko after he loses a lot of health. Nearly taking his head off is Logical, but getting good Z-Picks. Should be able to play this one well. Gets the body shots down, and knows Shiko's pretty low. This could be an advantageous fight, and he wins that one as well! It's a quad, but not allowed to win it out fully, as Dave from the side barely saves this round in this map for Army West Point, and the dream stays alive for the Black Knights.
Yeah. How much time was on the clock there for Husson?
I didn't check, but I think it was like, it wasn't like not that much. Like they still had a decent amount. Like it was like it was more than like 15 seconds, I think. Because the timer wasn't like red or anything, and they didn't have the special theme.
Yeah, you could tell that Logical kind of like forced that just a little bit too soon. Maybe even just rushed themselves, because he didn't know that somebody was in pillar, and of course you're not gonna know that somebody in pillar. But if you're in a cool mind, if you're composed, you jiggle peek that area maybe just to kind of like get some more information. If you jiggle peek that, then somebody will shoot at you, giving you a good clue that somebody is in that general vicinity. If nobody does shoot at you, then that does tell you, hey, look, nobody is here, so I don't need to worry about it, and I can just sprint on through. But instead of really checking anything, he just kind of sprints on through to the other site, and he dies almost immediately. Again, I mean, that just shows a lack of composure from Logical, and he got really close, don't get me wrong. That was some really nice kills, isolating his 1v1s in Army West Point, giving him those 1v1s, but again, lack of composure there in the 1v1, and you just saw him kind of fall early, and it's an unfortunate one, because again, like I mentioned, you wouldn't expect somebody to be in a pillar. You wouldn't especially if you don't know. So I understand it. But,
yeah, I also think that part of it might have had to do with the fact that when he tossed that drone up towards the top of Freezer Stairs, he spotted one out, so I think he still was going under the pretense that somebody was going to be playing from off of this site and that they wouldn't be on the site, so he might be able to make that cross quickly. Also, there might have been not much time left. I wasn't watching it. I was assuming there wasn't like less than 10 seconds left, because there was no like special theme or whatever, like the like the little like thing that happens. That was a really terrible impression of that. But like the Siege players and competitive viewers understand what I'm saying by saying that. There wasn't really like any indicator that it was super late, but diffuser across the way. You last saw somebody off the site. I understand Logical's way of thinking, which is why that was an especially smart spot to play from Dave. The off angle works out, and it gets another round for Army West Point. We're back into the thick of it, though, as it's another Meeting Hall Kitchen defense. This time, AWP will try their luck at the defense of the Meeting Hall in the kitchen, but Logical is going to try his luck in the opening fights, and wouldn't you know, it continues to go well for the Dokkaebi, and, well, there goes Shiko, dead pretty quickly, not able to have much impact, and Quartz on a massive flank could be huge, but for now it's favoring Husson Esports. As, oof.
Oh, wow. That's right, now, okay, so this is crazy. That's absolutely crazy. He gets a second one from that same position. I'm surprised he got 2, let alone really 1, because
And almost
Husson,
the third.
Yeah, I feel like Hudson, you're going for like a meeting. It seems like they're going mainly for a meeting execute, so they didn't really need to keep on forcing their way inside of attic like that.
What a play!
Nice there from Soupy. Heard the drone going out. The sound perfectly. And Logical was none the wiser. 3v2 in favor of Army West Point. Again, a lot of the heroics coming in from Dave on the attic push, just winning his gunfights. And Husson Esports made it count. I believe that was Lance. Now, 6-2 is the score at the moment. 35 seconds left. The round started off pretty explosively through the attic area, especially. And for the most part, you really have no hard breachers, so you didn't get meeting wall open. You have attic hatch to work with. You still have attic hatch control, but if you don't have this main wall open, you still have a clear rear stage stairs. You also have a really clear meeting itself because, I mean, Forrest is still here. There's no way, I feel like it's going to be very difficult for them to win. And there goes Quartz with 1. Maybe a second. Yeah, he's losing a lot of his shots. They're unfortunate there from the sledge. And Army West Point grab a third. I said I'd be worried if they won the tertiary site, and they did.
Are you worried? Is that like
no,
an
act?
You are? Okay.
I'm worried for them.
Okay. All right, because I'm not gonna lie. I am a little too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, this I feel like
it's like it's not. I mean, they still have 3 full rounds, but you've just proven that you haven't won any of the attacks your first time around. I mean, their attacks were pretty good, and they did a nice job last map on Chalet of identifying what went wrong with their attacks, and plenty of them were pretty close. I mean, that last round came down to a 2 versus 2 at the end, and they were just lacking intel in the last couple of players. If they had the information as to where Quartz was, I'm actually confident that Lance would have won that first fight, and they would have won the 2 versus 1. But unfortunately, Lance no clue where that Quartzy was playing from, and unfortunately, Quartz able to get that kill, or at least unfortunately for Husson. Quartz gets a quick double at the very end, and now you haven't won a single site on attack, and Army West Point are really starting to think now, okay, we could make this happen. They can't get ahead of themselves because Logical can make anything happen out of nothing. We've seen it a couple times, we've almost seen it twice, but we've seen it almost happen one time, and we've actually seen a miracle clutch from Logical a completely different time. And also, everybody else on Husson is having pretty solid games in and of themselves. Nobody's negative from them so far. So, Army West Point, it's not like, oh, we won every site once, it'll be free to do it again. It's going to be a massive fight to win these next 3. But we're just saying, we're worried for Husson because they didn't look very good in their last 3 attack rounds as a team. They relied a lot on those dynamic solo plays, and that's not necessarily a super reliable way to win.
Yeah. And they just lost on an offside for the defense.
That's it.
Tertiary, if you guys don't know what like tertiary means, tertiary is like third. So like primary equals first, secondary equals second, tertiary equals third. There's a reason why meeting is a third site choice on Oregon. Still a decent site, but it doesn't really have the best of win rates for the attackers, I think, or for the defenders. Oh my goodness. Each of the shots through the wall. Legit Scars is still down on the floor, but you've just taken out the switch. Is he gonna go for that? I mean, you want to go for a refrag, but you also want to get your teammate up. There's nobody else rotating towards the buck neither, and I'm hoping to God that Lance is not gonna take this 1v1 on the first floor against Waffles. That'd be devastating.
Yeah, I know in particular Waffles had a really good performance on Oregon when my Siege team in ECAC played against him. It looks like they're just going to let legit Scars bleed out, even though nobody was really, or Waffles was holding it semi-aggressively, but I don't think anyone was specifically holding it. You could have come in from that east side door into tower, but nope, eventually bleeding out is the buck, and now you don't have a buck, you don't have a twitch. It's going to be really hard to get stuff off the walls now, and that still is an issue with Waffles. Oh, somebody's back in the tower. They want to go back at him once more. Lance Fox trying to take this fight, and Waffles has been knocked down. And Snow Game gets him killed. That might have been by his own C4. I'm not exactly sure, but I heard a C4 explode, and I saw Waffles get knocked. So whatever got him knocked. Well, eventually, the Mozzie does go down. No more terrorizing of Husson Esports for Waffles. However, Snow Game has also fallen, so it's just down to Lance and Logical. And if you could ask for any 2 players from Husson in this position, it would be these 2. Lance, ever so good, ever so dynamic on these entries, and Logical as well, just really good at making things happen out of nothing, but spending time clearing the bottom floor is not what we need to worry about right now. Head up White and help out Lance Fox, who's currently trying to work into Trophy, not finding anything. Actually finds that first kill, though, and here comes Logical as well. Should get the next one. Needs to watch the left side, though, and he's not watching it. Good kill at the very end there for Dave, and Army West Point, they get closer and closer to the full 6-round comeback.
That was early 2 kills from, or the early down at least, and the early pick there from Waffles. Disrupted so much on that first floor from Husson Esports as they were trying to at least clear their area of the map, and they lost 2 bodies in the process. Yeah.
The worry is even more persistent.
Yeah, because it just doesn't look like neither team can really attack at the moment here on Oregon.
Is this going to come down to... Wait, so I don't know exactly if somebody picked a side. I think the team who gets to pick the side in overtime is the team who picked the map and the team who didn't pick the side at the start, but I'm not 100% sure on how that works. So I don't know exactly who would pick the starting side in OT, or if it would just go to a certain default or whatever it may be. Whatever it is, it's the starting side, and what's it called? It'll be basically down to the starting side in OT. Whoever starts off on attack has all but lost, and whoever starts out on defense has, in theory, all but won. So it looks like Army West Point should be able to get it done after these first 4 rounds. But again, they have to play their secondary and tertiary sites. And last time, we saw this one get pretty close. Logical has switched off the Dokkaebi, though, onto the Nomad this time around. But even more so than the Mark 14 can be at times, the ARX can be so deadly as Waffles already has damage done incredibly early onto him and has not dealt any at this point in the round quite yet. Now has to play towards Kitchen and Small Tower, trying to play aggressively, make sure the presence is known, so Husson are more hesitant to get into the site than ever, or actually just into the map at all. More hesitant to get into the map at all than ever, as Army West Point just trying to extend as far off the site as they can. And, well, Husson, well, they get in and they take pretty quick control of Freezer. Good progression here from Lance Fox. We need to push players out, and somebody's holding the top angle, and he's just running straight through. He just does not care. Well, okay, I respect the boldness, Lance.
Okay. He also has Snow to support him. I was gonna be a bit confused. Lance pushing this by himself, especially with the player on a locker. He looked like he was gonna accept his death. He was so late to shoot it. He was just like, okay, fine, this is my way, and then dies. It's okay.
Like what is it? What's the what's I'm thinking of like the. There's the whole like quote from the anime thing or whatever. I don't know. Forget it. It's not the time for that. There was a monologue I was thinking of, an old meme from back in the day. It was like the "Why are we here just to suffer?" That's what it was. That's what I think was running through Lance's head when the C4 went out. But regardless, I've already seen 3 kills come out in my time trying to remember an old meme. Is Shiko able to get one with the pistol? He's just completely crazy, and Shiko looking for more, but Logical. There it is. It's the matchup between the 2 MVPs of the last basement defense round we saw, and Logical's able to get the first kill. But that makes it even worse for Army West Point because you lose Shiko, who was so crucial last time, and then you lose one more. It's an advantage to the attackers, but not for long because Soup is still playing with his M590, and he's dropped another body. And there's no diffuser on side for the attackers, and there's no more Logical either. It's looking more and more likely that we reach overtime, or at the very least reach maximum regulation time on this Oregon map. It'll have to be another defense of the tertiary site unless Ubisoft has any other plans, has recovered the diffuser, so could have something to work with. Has an idea as to one is going to be playing in the laundry. Flash off to the left side. Notice that Soup's been holding Freezer for so long, but actually has moved out. Waiting for the peek into Freezer. Not going to get it, though. Now just waiting for the cross. Here's the cross, but it's too far away. Dave is just playing the opposite side of Freezer. Or not Freezer, but Laundry, rather, is a Ubisoft. Needs to move in. Wants to go with the CZ-75, and much like Canadian on top of the white stairs, I don't think the CZ is the play here. Only 2 seconds left, so Ubisoft just going to try and run in, maybe find what he can, but cannot find a thing. Army West Point take another round in what would be an inspirational comeback should we see them win one more round.
They got such good map control early. There wasn't really a lot of contention neither from Army West Point, at least on the roam from what I could see. It was just mainly from the site. That was quite literally it. And they didn't really clear when they contested in those areas, Freezer primarily, they didn't clear that close or that close, that tight right area of the, or tight, not tight right, sorry, my directions are off. That tight left area, like right behind the lockers. And we just literally saw the mute get so much value from that position. Or was it the smoke character?
No, it was a mute. It was a mute. Yeah, no, smoke is banned. Smoke is off the board this round. So
also, yeah, and also for Husson Esports, instead of bringing nades for the sledge to help them easily clear behind those lockers, they brought the EMP.
10 seconds left.
For that execute.
Wait, they have those on sledge?
Yeah, no, they had those on sledge. With the way that they were executing on that site, the Freezer main stairs split push. Why? Why do we need EMP impacts unless you want to get that surfer hatch open? But there was no extension from Army West Point on that side of the map.
You also had a Dokkaebi. Have the Dokkaebi run EMP. Why is the Doke running flashbangs if you need to run your I mean, grenades clear flashbangs every day of the week, and it's really not much of a contest at all. So just kind of not understanding utility the way they should is legit scarce. Still running those EMP impacts, proudly running the impact EMPs on the sledge, which is enough to make any just long-time professional competitive Siege player, analyst, caster, or fan enough to make any of them cry, but
it's enough
legit
to
scarce.
A grown man cry.
Yeah, a grown man or woman in this case, but I mean, regardless, it's just kind of like, you know, we see inexperience and like a lack of understanding in certain aspects. This, so like, I'm not necessarily surprised as Snow Game. There goes that. That's unfortunate, and they're gonna just get the bandits back on the wall. We haven't even really tried to take the top floor. There's no attempt to like steal attic at all. And they're just going to try and brute force the main wall with the bandit under zero pressure at all. As Snow Game is...
Why?
You have a sledge there.
Why?
You have a sledge on your team.
What is
right?
the reason? Bro, cue up the Cardi B meme. What is the reason? What are you doing?
I feel like we're just explaining this game in memes, and I don't quite... Yes, legit scarce is right over. I mean, trying my best to understand what's going on, but like, all you have to do is just say, "Hey, Scarce, can you get this wall? Can you get this castle for me, bud?" They're just still gonna run in though. Lance Fox is just allowed to push in. Okay, they've just given up the hallway, and this is beyond analysis at this point. It's just a clown fiesta in Siege, as Lance Fox allowed to just plant in the corner, being covered a little bit, but not super heavily. And Dave could push in from the side. C4 gives out, but not really doing anything. Dave is giving away the fact that he's pushing from the opposite side, and Lance Fox has been taken down, but Ubisoft's able to get one. Chico's still inside the site, denied by Logical, and they're actually going to pull this back unless Waffles has one last miracle left in him. It's a 1 versus 3 for Army West Point's Mozzie to deal with, and has a decent spot to play out of, but they picked the diffuser back up. They can just plant side meeting if they know where he's coming from. Waffles' door is being watched heavily right now. He needs to cover this hard right angle, or Logical's going to have him dead, but he watches it, and he gets the kill, so now Waffles just needs 2 more with the Mozzie, and it'll be a 1 round, and a done regulation will head into overtime, but it still doesn't look super likely. Gives away his position by shooting the gridlocks, and the track stingers might just win it out here. Still holding that angle, and there it is! Legit Scarce has closed it, and in the final round they could. It's 5 straight for Army West Point, but Husson, like you said, the tertiary bomb site ends up being the decider at the end of the day, and it decides decisively in favor of Husson Esports. We will see the theme park between these two teams, and that's going to be a barn burner of a mashup. You are.
No, yeah.
You are so.
How about we cut to a break? My brain is melted.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I just want to get to theme park. I'm done. We'll see you guys right after this break. That was Oregon. It was a hot mess for both
and
teams.
We don't have to talk about it anymore.
And we're done.
Yeah.
We're done. We'll see you guys after the break.
Go.
With theme park up coming.
Producer, please, just go, man.
That's so cute.
UCF, and it's really cute. So I'm gonna move down here. How do we feel? The odds for UCF? What are we thinking?
They got it.
No, we got this. We got it. We got it.
Go Knights, charge on.
100%. My friend Nick is behind you. He's gonna record it. Don't look at him. You'll ruin the shot. Don't look at him. Don't look at him.
Come on.
Oh,
let's go! Let's go!
My smile's probably really creepy. I was just being weird.
Oh, I love being in the shadows, though. Big shout out to the shadows.
We could interview Dilly just because I think he's handsome. You weren't supposed to hear.
Here's the thing about the event. I'm the greatest that's ever lived.
Literally true. I know him.
I think everyone knows that. I think everyone's aware of that.
Hey, do you have a VIP access badge on?
I actually have an all access.
Oh, an all access. I thought it said VIP access.
And that's only available for the best.
That's true. He's right. That's a main stage TO right there.
If this goes live, I'm suing everybody.
It's all right. A video of me. The first clip is me saying, "Don't put that in," and then it was the first. Cut the cameras. Cut the cameras. Oh, you're recording already? Great. So this is this is Bay State versus UCF. I believe something that we saw yesterday on day one of the tournament, but instead we're gonna have that run back here. I think they're fighting for a spot in Grand Finals. Anarchy, one of the best Greninja players in the United States, currently struggling against a Terry. Terry notorious for that DLC privilege, being a very strong character with some very strong abilities. Greninja, not so much, considered one of the weaker characters in the game. A Falco player, one of the best in the United States, and he just got spiked by a Terry. Same Terry that took out Anarchy literally minutes ago. UCF still up by 2 stocks. This guy is looking to rip this team apart single-handedly. That is, I mean, nuts, to say the very least. Absolutely absurd. That was a disgusting spike. I cannot believe that happened. Will you hold the microphone so I can sign this? Sorry.
For context, he's got a fan. He's actually signing something. He's so excited.
What was it like to not hear my voice for 2 minutes? For 30 seconds, maybe. What was it like? Probably bliss. I was signing a mouse pad, which is really cool. I've never done that before. Nobody's ever asked me for a signature, so I'm going to start blushing, but I'm really excited about that. And then he wants a picture. Can you take a picture of us? I said, is it bad? She went, no. I'm going to go ahead and take that as a yes.
Turns out I can't tie a tie sitting down.
What do you think is the appropriate face-to-screen ratio for a Valorant player?
Face to screen, like how close I sit?
Yeah, like how close should a player sit?
Personally, I play really, really close. I think it depends on your eyesight, but for me, I like playing close because it helps me focus on my crosshair.
Is the value of sitting close to the crosshair being the only thing in your line of sight?
Yeah, that's pretty much the main benefit of it.
It's so funny how close some of these guys sit. Oh my goodness. What do you think is the healthy face-to-screen distance for a Valorant player?
I think it's all kind of personal preference. I guess I would consider myself like pretty close when I play because I like to zone in on my crosshair.
It is the second person to say that. It's all about the crosshair. And then what's up with the horizontal keyboard?
I don't know, like it just kind of fits like the form when I'm close to monitor. Like I don't know, it might sound cringy, but I like to be one with my gun. You know?
No, bro, I feel it. I feel it absolutely. What is going on, everybody? I am here with some UCF fans. How are we feeling about UCF? Let's go! Let's go! We've got a bunch of UCF fans in the crowd right now. UCF, they're up by a single game. They're looking to find their third and possibly final, secure a spot moving forward. Things looking great for them against Northwood here today. This guy's playing Minecraft right now. He keeps double building instead of placing the dirt. Pressure's on, man. Everybody's watching. Just kidding. Just me. Cameraman's not over here. Just kidding. He's behind you. There's actually always cameras on you if I'm around. Do you double build all of those? No excuses, bro.
I can't play Minecraft.
Your college esports Minecraft team absolutely rolled. L after L here. Let's hope UCF has a little better luck on stage, huh? What is going on, everybody? I am Septilence. I have the honor of welcoming you to the Collegiate Esport Commissioners Cup here in Atlanta, Georgia. All right, that was good. That was good. Good content. Good content.
My name is Dusty. I'm 24 years old, and uh, this is my first year at Bay State College and first year towards um, my bachelor's there. But I've been going to college for a few years now, or several years now.
Cool. What are you studying?
Right now, I am studying human resource management in
Nice.
business. Yeah.
Do you like Bay State so far?
Yes. Yeah. It's been pretty good so far. It's only been one quarter, but I like it so far. So.
Where are you from?
I'm from SoCal. I'm doing it uh, remotely from Southern California.
So, what games do you play? What's your main game?
My main game is Smash Brothers, and that's what I compete in. So Super Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Okay, what character do you like?
Wii Fit Trainer is my main character.
So, how has it been being part of a collegiate team at Bay State? Have you been on a collegiate team before?
I've been on teams before. I don't know if I've been on a collegiate team before. Um, I think this is my first collegiate team, but it is really nice, and the teammates are really supportive, and I've met some cool people, so that's nice. But I definitely do have experience like with teams, so uh, it's nothing like super new, but it's always good to be in a team, have that support.
A fresh team. Yeah, that's cool. So, how long have you been playing Smash?
I've been playing Smash for about like 7-ish years now. Well, I've kind of played it since I was like really young, but like competitively, I've played it like 7 years. I played since the release of Smash 4, which is the previous Smash game, and now I've played into Ultimate, so quite a while.
What has been your proudest moment since playing Smash?
That's hard to say because I've honestly had a lot of good moments. It's just I feel like every other week or every other month I have a new moment where I'm like, wow, that's the best I've ever played, which feels good and makes it, I keep going for stuff like that. But every time I play and I play a tournament set and it feels really good and I feel like I'm playing the best I've ever played, probably each of those consecutive moments. I just had a tournament a couple weekends ago in Las Vegas where I placed ninth out of nearly 400, I think, and I think that was one of the best I've ever played, and that felt really good. So that was a really big accomplishment for me.
So, you would definitely say over the past 7 years, you said that you've grown a lot in the game?
Yeah, I think I've grown a lot in the game, and I think I've also grown a lot just as a person too. Just like competition in general, there's a lot of learning, and there's a lot of a lot of ways to approach it. I've learned how to teach other people as well because I do coaching as well, stuff like that. Um, so I've learned a lot through Smash. Yeah.
How long have you been doing the coaching part?
Coaching, I've been doing maybe a year and a half ish, maybe almost 2 years. I'm actually not sure on the number. I think a year and a half is probably closer to the right one. But yeah, that's been a lot of fun too. It's really interesting because it gives you a different perspective on the game, and not only are you helping other people, but you kind of help yourself in a way too because you can kind of see things from a different perspective, So.
How would you describe yourself? Do you like competing more or playing for fun or?
I'm definitely more of a competitor. Ever since I was young, like I remember playing like board games um with like friends or something. I think I was waiting for them to play, and I think some of them were playing like just like house rules or whatever, and I was like really really young, and it like made me upset. I'm like, you guys aren't playing it the right way or whatever. But like I've always been a competitor, but at the same time, like you have to have fun because if you're only a competitor and you're only competing and it's all seriousness, like it's there's like a limit to that. So like you have to have fun. So definitely both, but I definitely lean towards the competitive sides of things. So I like optimizing things and seeing the best thing you can do because it all started out with like uh it all started out with it just being fun because when I was younger, I played different games and I originally just played them for fun and I played them all the time, but I played them so often and I got so good at them to the point where uh, it just started to naturally lean into the competitive side of things. And I was so good to the point where I was like, oh, okay, what can I do to make myself like better? And how can I see this as like something I can improve at? So it kind of made like a transition a little bit, but so it's both.
If you were to give someone advice who may be looking into joining an esports team but they're kind of on the fence, what would you tell them?
My advice would be to really like think over what they're looking for like in not only in the collegiate esports team but in school as well and like see like exactly does this line up with what they really want, and just to figure out what they really want and if it's going to be a good decision, from like a scholarly standpoint and from like a financial standpoint, because there's a lot of things to consider. Like I thought it over a lot before I realized, okay, yes, this is a really good decision, I should go for this. So that's something that should be considered. And also like the time frame as well, because if you commit yourself to a collegiate team, it could potentially be a long time. um, so just consider it and think through like all your options, and don't ever make it like don't ever make a decision just off like an emotional reaction or anything like that. Just like
All right, we've taken our break. We have recuperated our mental sanity, at least for the most part. Welcome back to the Esports U Twitch channel. It's Rainbow Six Siege. It's ECAC R6 between Army, West Point, and Husson Esports. It's been a series of maps, and if you were not here for Oregon, don't watch it. Don't. Just don't worry about it. It was something. Towards the end, it really got something, but it has been a close one. Like Lance said, it's been very back and forth. There have been a couple really big clutch opportunities, and so as many misplays as there have been on part of this not being tier 1 or tier 2 or tier 3 or maybe even like tier 4, but like it's just some collegiate friends saying, you know what, let's play some Siege together. So it's to be expected, but I took us back in to give my friend Suga a little bit of time to, recuperate his mental sanity, because he in particular was having a rough go of things in the last map, but I think we're all ready to go, aren't we, Suga?
Yeah, I mean, I love theme park. I also kind of like Oregon, but I didn't like the way it was being played, so I'm hoping theme park is a little bit more different. The ban phase is very interesting, though.
That was definitely a target ban Zof ban. Like, they're trying to shut down someone in particular. Like, who banned it? Did AWPE ban the Zof? No, they wouldn't. Wait, they did?
Yeah, I think by the order of the bans, yeah. Blue team bans first, then orange team.
Why would they ban? I mean, they had Waffles playing Zof, but nobody on the other team was really playing Zof much at all. Like, I mean, if you wanted to target ban anyone, surely you'd ban either the Nomad or the Dokkaebi, because
no, it was Husson.
It was Husson. Okay. Right. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot more sense, because they had Waffles doing a lot on the Zof. Basically one-tricking the Zofia, so now it'll probably be more like an Ashe or something to that effect going into this map.
Sorry, I Uno reversed you there for a second. Got the ban order wrong.
Been a long night. Been a long night.
Been a long night. But yeah, most definitely the Zof is a target ban towards Waffles, because he was kind of like we didn't see a lot from the attacking half from Army West Point, but when Waffles was on the Zofia and when Army West Point did look good at times in Oregon, he was kind of effective on the Zof, at least when it came to actually using her gun. I didn't really get to see a lot when it came to the utility wise, but I remember a lot of the times he was a big troublemaker on the side of Army West Point with the gun. Even on Chalet, he was quite troublesome with the gun as well, and also just with Zofia in general. So that takes a really strong operator out of the hands of a really strong player here on Army West Point. Are you? Oh. I like the jump out.
It's gonna be another one of those, isn't it?
I like the jump out. I like the idea. It was just, I think he whiffed a lot of shots because of how many shots I heard come out of the MP5.
And how many I did not see get taken off of Lance Fox's or Alto's HP.
Right.
It's, you know what? It's all right. It's Soup tried to make the aggressive play. Oh, it was on the Echo. Why are you doing that as Echo? So I don't know. You know what? It is what it is. You don't have the Echo this round. Good early kill for Husson, but Quartz is right behind him, and this has gone unnoticed. As Lance Fox is going to try and peek in, but he gets taken down, and not the next kill for another. It's not going to be another kill for Quartz instead. It's Chico able to get the next one. Now Lance Fox and Alto both down, and Logical hasn't been killed yet. Had a very good opportunity to kill them. Quartz did, but Quartz did not actually find the frag, and now it's Chico trying to hold this angle again, and it's another great one. Oh my goodness, the Magnum with the 2.5er has been going crazy this map, and last map as well for Chico. Already on a couple of kills with it, and it's Logical and Ubisoft trying to make the play. as Quartz going to come in from behind and go for a completely different play, but Logical has sniffed that one out. And so Husson, if they're going to find a route back into the round, it's going to be right there, and it'll have to be right now as Logical and Ubisoft. Player disadvantage, they don't have any walls open. It's going to be kind of tough. Please tell me Ubisoft is going to move before he blows that up. Okay, he is. Thank good. I am at a loss for words. It's been around.
Wow. And Chico's gonna get a down here from Office. There's a lot of things not going right for Husson on the entry game. They get the first kill on a jump out from Suit. And then when they entry the map, nobody's watching top of arcade on that swing from Fort. And then you're trying to get the main wall open. Again, this is the same issue that we saw from Husson on Chalet when they struggled to really clear a lot of the defensive utility that was blocking them from getting some of the main walls on the site that could really help them open up the site in general. Like, we saw that issue as well, and now we're seeing it here on Twitter.
Yeah, just a lot of the same issues as we've seen in the past. But, I mean, though they might not be good at taking their issues from one map and transferring them over the next, historically, both of these teams haven't been the worst at actually adapting to the mistakes they've made in the past. So I'm sure that next time we see Husson go for an attack like that, they won't just try and jump in quickly and not really drone out as much. And yeah, like what Lance Fox said, those were some nice shots from Chico. Really good ones with the Magnum. And the Kaid pistol has been whipped out a couple of times by Chico in particular. To varying degrees of success, but there we see a fantastic couple of kills with it, and that basically wins the round in and of itself for Army West Point. As the defensive advantage here, especially at lower levels of Siege, like in intermediate ranked games, the way this is biased, this map is biased towards defenders in terms of win rates is so decisive that AWPE, if they don't really get like a 5-1 or a 6-0, this is very good. It's a very good opening half for Husson, to say the least.
Yeah. I'd even say just like even a 4-2 would be something to work off of, because you only really have...
You could work with it, yeah.
Yeah, you only really have like 2 really good sites on this map of Theme Park. Armory being the best site in the game, arguably. And then you also have Daycare and Bunks. Office Initiation is a toss-up.
But
and Lab
they
Storage
just won
is
Office
terrible.
Initiation.
They
just won that one.
They sure did.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. But it's still a toss-up. Even though they won it, it's still a toss-up.
Yeah.
And then Lab Storage is just absolutely terrible.
No, don't play
Dog
it.
water. Some teams will play it, but like, and I'm not one to dissuade the site choice, but it is, you gotta know when you play it is a terrible site.
It's in and of itself, it is a bad site. There are ways to like hold Armory Throne to try and hold the other thing with really complex destruction and all that, that you can make it work on, and you can do like things to try and get like somewhere on Lab Storage, but for all intents and purposes, don't worry about it, because we will almost definitely not be needing to worry about it, as okay, look at that. The defenders are going to have to worry about the Thatcher EMPs because they're back on the board. And Snow Game looks happier than ever as there they all go when the Kaid going to chuck an Electro Claw back on that wall just to like shock people for a little damage as they walk back in. There wasn't a shadow of a chance of keeping that exothermic charge from going off, and it does go off. Unfortunately, though, that's every single EMP popped on the same wall for Snow Game, so it will be hard to get other walls open. And Chico almost able to get that early kill, but also not quite dead.
Yeah, he used all 3 EMPs just to make sure that the wall would get open entirely, but in doing so, that meant that he does not have any EMPs to work with whatsoever. Chico finds the first kill inside of that throne room site, and Dave, he sees... Incoming. Yeah, he's just gonna pop the Nitro Cell, not even gonna risk jumping over the Lancers, just try and get the easier kill. Instead, he uses his explosives. So, 3v4 though, as Lance is just in sight behind the throne room. He's just in here. I don't care. Look, and he's gonna hold off barrels with that LMG. Keep on spraying and praying until the Nitro Cell goes back. Does not hit the Capital. Doesn't even do a lick of damage on him, as the only damage that's done to him is through soup inside of Armory. So, well, man, what? Man.
How does Lance win that? And then Logical gets another one. This is just a winning of the gunfights from Husson, which is crazy because the first map went so decisively in favor of Army West Point because they won so many gunfights. But now it's Soup in a 1 versus 3, turned it into a 1 versus 2, but couldn't really turn it into a round win. And that is such a good way for Husson to start off these first couple rounds, going 1 for 1 and taking Armory Throne away from Army West Point. That's going to be massive because now AWP will go back there, and even if they win this next round on Armory Throne, that's basically, like Suga said, the best site possibly in the whole game taken away from you on your first attempt at defending it after you had a really good couple of opening frags because they just died inside the site, and Lance Fox is built different on the entries already at 4-1 through 2 rounds.
Yeah. He literally just ran in from barrels behind the throne room, took control of that, and just played the throne as if he was like anchoring on the site himself. Except for the fact that he's not anchoring on site, he's quite literally attacking it. So weird because he didn't have any smoke to block vision from Split. He didn't have any smokes to block vision from Armory. He just ran right in.
And nobody was in Throne other than Shiko, who died early, and was playing towards the split as Waffles pops 2 of those to try and get the drone. Which, like, I mean, if you're gonna make good use of that drone, that's not a terrible decision to try and take it away from the attackers in the prep phase. A lot of the times you'll see Mozzie mostly used as a way to deny those drones from getting to certain spots rather than actually getting the drones yourself and using them. But, I mean, I've always been a big fan of Mozzie actually actively using the drones on the defensive side. So you know what? That's not really that bad of a play, and it's just about how Waffles is going to play with things. And he's been such an aggressive roamer, so I wouldn't be shocked to see him make some aggressive plays, as that's certainly an aggressive play, and it's worked in Dave's favor as the opening kill goes to the MX4 Storm, barely losing any HP for his trouble, and Dave does a wonderful job starting off this round well for Army West Point, but the last round also started well for Army West Point. So will the Black Knights be able to take it, or will Husson claw back the same way they did last time around?
Losing one of their 2 hard breaches is going to certainly hurt Husson Esports, especially when it comes to opening walls. I'm assuming that with the double hard breach that they wanted to do a split push between, or actually open up both or all 3 walls actually on the site. Yellow stairs or yellow hallway wall, barrels walls like they're doing right now, maintenance wall as well, just to make it harder for the defense on site. Because even with all of these walls closed, or even when they're with all of these walls closed, or even with all of them open, it doesn't really matter. This site is very easy to anchor on into and just to sit back, hold cross angles onto somebody interested inside of sight. When they're open, it makes it less easier to do so. I don't know what that was, but there goes the refrag.
Yeah, I mean, you said it was easy to anchor, but not really when you're playing a one-and-done spot like that. You'd ideally be anchoring in a spot that's much more, you know, like useful over the course of more than just getting 1 kill, because there are so many spots in Armory Throne that you can play to very good effect, and Shiko has picked none of them so far. And Ubisoft is going to make it even worse for AWP, taking down Waffles, and Soup just crossing in front of every single crossfire, going down, and it's only left to Quartz, this time a different 1v3 for a GSG9 operator, and this time still able to get the first kill. So Lance Fox not able to find the opening frag, but has to deal with Logical, who was so hot last round, and Ubisoft, who has found a kill so far through Theme Park as well, and it's Logical getting a good peek and getting a good round for Husson and giving away Armory Throne twice. This already throws the win chance drastically in Husson's favor, as they're up 2-1 on their attacking side when they've won Armory Throne twice. And it's back to initiation office for Army West Point.
Yeah. Armory Throne Room.
It's like the opposite of what you were expecting to happen.
Yeah. Armory Throne Room is just not the site for Army West Point. It just, all it takes is for Husson, it could be, all it takes is for Husson to open up Barrel's wall. And then boom, it just seems like there's like an off switch for Army West Point. It just turns out all the lights, and Army West Point just forgets how to like how to deal with it properly.
I think Shiko just isn't really picking great spots. I mean, Shiko could be playing really quality spots, like the same spot that all the attackers use at the end of the round, sort of in the, like, relative to where Barrels is. I forget my specific position callouts in Siege, forgive me, but from the opposite side of where Barrels is, just playing the opposite, like on the opposite side of the room behind the little half wall that the attackers have been using pretty well. If Shiko just falls back to there instead of trying to put an extra Electro Claw on the wall and playing like a one and done spot, then he could easily hold out a couple of players just from that spot alone. Has the C4 to play with as well, but it just hasn't really been working out. Hasn't been picking the right spots, unfortunately.
Did they just use a C4 to make a rotate? I think they just did, yep.
Yeah, it's as
I saw that.
Yeah, yeah.
I saw the big explosion, and I was
You're not
thinking...
getting it past. You're not getting it past Sugar.
Yeah.
Sugar sees all.
I heard that. No, I didn't even see it. I heard it. There's like a specific sound that a nitrocell makes when it explodes.
Dave's got none, so
yeah.
it looks like it was Dave.
Yeah, Dave is the culprit. You're in trouble, Dave.
They've got 3 others, so I mean, like, it's
wow.
How does he do it every time?
Bro, get
He's
Shiko out of
just
here,
so
bro.
clean with this thing.
Get Shiko out of here. He's 5-2 as well. And he's already found the first pick inside of this round, and that happens to be on the castle. So an operator that's been picked so regularly throughout this whole matchup. And I have to say, from both teams, they haven't had much luck in keeping the castle alive, at least not in a majority of the rounds that he's brought in. And now that he's dead, it's going to make removing a lot of these like one and done positions that she described harder to remove, such as the position behind initiation. I mean, Soup has just gotten, not Soup, sorry, Dave gets lit up. But even then, unless he really aggresses onto this angle, there's no way to remove him now.
Yeah, and I think the big thing about Lansfox playing Capitao is that he really likes that M249. He's playing a lot of Capitao and Gridlock, as here comes Quartz on the flank. This could be massive, just needs to get somebody on the timing, and it'll be a much worse round for Husson, and there it is. Quartz is able to make a big play, and Army West Point at a player advantage with Quartz still running free across the map. Impact is being found by Quartz without even needing to do a single thing, as Dave just sitting inside the site trying not to die. That's what a lot of players on Army West Point are doing at this point, and, well, it's really just all they need to do. Just don't die. Alright, Halto got the cam eventually, but then got taken down as Shiko is just so good with the Magnum. I don't even understand it. It's just like you just give the man a 2.5 or 2.0 or whatever. Is it 2.0, I believe? Is it 2.0 scope? It is, okay. So just give him the 2.0 scope. Doesn't even matter if he's got a gun that's like not super useful at all. It's got the 2.0 scope, so he's just going to hit heads. Already has clicked a couple of them, and then there goes Soup clicking one. That's Ubisoft. Now down in Snow is so low on HP, but still wins that fight regardless. The AR-33, it's definitely more of a niche pick, but it's a solid gun. You see it a lot on Flores, but not so much on Thatcher. He's trying to move into the site, but Shiko, not with the pistol this time, but with the AUG, is able to close out the round. So we're back to 2-2, and Army West Point need to figure things out on a site that isn't Initiation. If they go back to Armory, I'm not quite sure what they're thinking, but it's bunk daycare.
Yeah, it's bunk daycare. I mean, this is also another side that's good for the defense. I mean, we said the same thing about Armory Throne, and Army West Point couldn't really defend that, but they can defend office initiation. Just give them office initiation again, and somehow, some way, they're able to win like a 50 fight. That's crazy. That's mind-boggling to me, but I completely understand it, because there are some sites in this game where I know some teams like really struggle on it, and they're easier for every other team. I completely get it. I understand.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes like you just have those sites where no matter how good it is on paper, you just can't really get it together when you're actually like, it may be like the prime site to run in certain situations, but when you're running it specifically, like when your team is trying to play it, it just doesn't really, work out too well. And that's perfectly fine. It just, in this case on Theme Park, you can't really afford to have that unless Husson also had that issue with a different site, and unless you can go flawless on your other site executes. This time around, though, because of the way they pick these sites, they're going to have to either go Lab Storage or Armory Throne again if they win this round on Bunk Daycare. Or they lose this round on Bunk Daycare, and it's even more of a problem. So, either way, Army West Point in a bit of a yikes spot at the moment, but it can be pretty good. If they pull out with a 4-2 half, Husson are probably not going to be flawless on their defenses, so I wouldn't imagine a 4-2 is a done game. And, well, there go Husson. A bit of an accidental team kill, also taking down Snow Game and making it all the easier for Army West Point in their first attempt on the bunk daycare.
They had like 2 team kills on Chalet as well.
Yes, they had one. No, they had one team kill and then one suicide.
Yeah, that's what happened. Yep.
The one with the overcut with the well done nade. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, you still have one of your teammates dying to not anybody from the other team.
Yeah.
It's the 3rd time it's happened in this matchup so far, and it's all of them have been from Husson Esports, as they lose the Thatcher early. Yeah. At least they didn't have any on Oregon. But we don't talk about Oregon, just like how we don't talk about Bruno. But we will talk about them. 5v4 in favor of Army West Point. And for the most part, you can see where they're set up. I mean, they're set up in their own site. One player is in break room as you see pressure applied in that initiation area as they try and open up more lines of sight to make this area of the map unplayable. Yes, and opening up those lines of sight actually gives Lance some more targets to focus on, but even then you don't really clear out top of Arcade. That's a trouble spot. He gets down from that. Waffles falls too. It's a 3v4, certainly not impossible for Husson Esports, but again, you don't really, you fully have taken control of that initiation area. You haven't fully cleared out the map. Now you do, getting that kill into the Jaeger. 3v2 in favor of Army West Point, don't get me wrong, but Husson still has something to work with.
Yeah, it's not out of the picture by any means. I mean, they were even just now, and they could be if Logical gets a good peek onto the arcade stairs, but not quite able to get the kill. Does a little bit of damage to Quartz, but takes much more than he deals, and so, Logical, really tough spot to work with. Needs to peek this right, or just not peek this at all. As now, Shiko taking the fight against Ubisoft. Logical's peeked it right, though, and does a good job at it. And now, 2 versus 2, Shiko going to try and move into the hallway that Logical was just playing from. It's a curious decision from Shiko, but watching out well. Try and make sure they don't get any kills, and there goes Logical from Shiko playing said curious position. It ends up working out at the end, and only 10 seconds left for Ubisoft. Has the diffuser, but really needs to go for the kills now, and the CZ75 is not likely to find a single one as Dave plays the off angle, swing back into it. Ubisoft doesn't even get credit for that kill. That's just pain. They don't even win the round. You were kind of giving up on winning the round at that point, but you want to get the credit for that kill if you get the knock. Unfortunately, does not. And it looks like Alto, the mouse got stuck. I'm not sure what that means. Like, maybe your wire got caught somewhere?
Yeah.
Not exactly sure.
Yeah.
You know what? Unlucky. And that's a 3rd round for Army West Point. But now they go back to Armory Throne, and they've been so rough on this one in the past few rounds.
You know, I learned the phrase unlucky from Siege.
You didn't know what the phrase unlucky meant?
I was also a kid when I started playing this game.
Okay.
So there you go. Like, every time somebody said unlucky, I thought it was so cool to say unlucky because I saw, like, all the big streamers say it. So I was like, unlucky, unlucky.
Yeah.
Every time somebody, like, failed a clutch that wasn't, like, clutchable at all. But, yeah. Unlucky that he didn't get to confirm the kill in that last round. I mean, the alibi was going for kind of, like, some type of EM. Especially with the hit fire at the end there. But even then, you saw it. I mean, Husson Esports, just not really clearing a lot of anything to really get inside of the site. I mean, you get initiation control, that's fine. You open up control lines of sight for the lens box to work with inside of that break room area. Don't clear top of arcade, which if that wall is soft in break room, you need to clear it because you're gonna get sprayed from it. You're gonna get like pushed from all different sorts of angles. It's just not really a fun spot from Husson Esports, as they really did struggle to break away inside of the site, inside of that in that attack, even despite having control and initiation, having those lines of sight. Now we get to see Armory Throne Room again here from Army West Point. I had to take a double look at the site, but even regardless of that, we'll see what Army West Point has on the defense here, because, I mean, for the most part, they really did struggle with just holding on to the site. It wasn't really the roam. It wasn't really anything regarding the way that they set up. It was just their positioning inside of the site when Husson Esports made a desperate attempt at it.
It's a curious spot right now for Quartz, as I can't tell if Quartz wants to go for a run out And I'm also not sure why Lance is still trying so hard. I mean, they've spent a whole minute trying... You just didn't have to detonate that, man. You just did not have to do that. You could have just picked it up. Anyways, yeah, they could just have everybody go to a different spot and try and pressure in from other spots on the top floor. Because at the end of the day, you do want to be able to push into barrels, so you need to take the spot right above barrels. But you don't need to do it from these windows. You could try and pressure from other spots on the map. Just generally get a much wider roam clear and much more full roam clear. But that is something these two teams have been struggling with all series, is clearing the whole map as opposed to just part of it. As Quartz now watching in the window, somebody has repelled in, and they're going to try and take the fight onto him. Tries to just go straight through the wall. Doesn't get the kill for it, though. As a matter of fact, gets killed on his own. But Dave does a good job trading, making sure that his teammate knows you're never on your own. I'm always here. I've got your back. And now, a minute left. Lance Fox dead, Quartz dead, and only 50 seconds left, and significantly less progress has been made by the attack than they have in rounds past, and Dave is still upstairs.
Yup. Dave is still upstairs. Again, I mean, this is another thing, like, you don't fully have that area of the map clear. It'd be one thing if Dave was, like, on the first floor, because you haven't encountered that area of the map yet. You just maybe cleared the second floor. Dave looks away for a second, but so do those two players from Husson Esports. He finds one, could have found the second, as Logical was lit up alongside his teammate. The 3v3, you don't have any exothermic, you don't have any hard breach, apart from the Selmas here, but it's already too late to clear the utility off of the wall. So Husson Esports, they're gonna have to force themselves into these choke points, inside of Splint, inside of the Dragon doorway. That's exactly what they're going to do, just rushing right into the line of fire. The last two players were just scared as hell to take the gunfights into that choke point of Split. And Army West Point take a 4-2 half on the Armory Throne Room site. Finally a round on that site for them on the defense. They take a 4-2 half here as they switch sides.
Don't look at their site. Don't look at the site. Don't.
Oh, I love it.
All right.
You want to... No, I mean...
All right, Husson, if you want to play like that.
Let's see. I mean...
I mean, you know what? I don't know. I mean... I'm really just... At this point, there have been so many surprises that, like, I just kind of assumed it might not have been intentional or whatever, but, like, at this point, there have been so many things that have been, like, accidental and just, like, small little mishaps that I was just like, you know what? I don't know if we can trust them on a map, like, on a site like this, but, I mean, like... Oh, yep. Our lovely observer has pointed out... What? So, alright, it seems my superstitions were correct. Our lovely observer is pointing out that they are reinforcing every single wall around the site, which, as we did point out earlier, is kind of the opposite of what you need to do to actually have a chance at defending this site. There's so much control that can be taken from upstairs that you need to have some kind of holes open into the site and hold it from, like, somewhere off the site. Instead, they're going full turtle on lab storage, which, good luck, is all I can really say. Not to mention they haven't added any extra rotates into the lab, or into storage rather. They have some. They just have the door from lab to storage, but they don't have any extra rotates. They don't have the one that can watch the window, back from by the basketball machine, and they don't have the that's a basketball machine, right? Like, thing in the back corner. Yeah, I think it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
It is, okay.
Maybe.
They don't have that wall open, and they don't have the main wall open that can watch the jump into the window, which are, like, the two things that, like, everybody does on this site. So it's, you know, not much confidence instilled in me in the chances in this round. And they didn't have anyone upstairs.
Army West Point. If I'm Army West Point, right, all I would do instead of doing a full clear like this, take control of Cafe. That's fine, okay?
Yeah.
Drone out sight. Open that window up, have somebody watch bathroom, jump into that lab area where they've just reinforced the other site completely off of it, or store it, whatever that smaller site is, and just plant.
Yeah, they have a Nomad, so Waffles can just put some air jabs down and they can deny the presence from everywhere else on the top floor, even though Lance Fox is still able to get the kill. And Dave's actually popping some Candelas to try and take away Bunk, we don't need to worry this much about Bunk, gentlemen. We could just go, but Lance Fox has got another kill. And now 2 Candelas go in. They don't do too much, but they get Ubisoft in an uncomfortable spot and eventually get that kill. But Lance Fox is on a triple kill. How is this defense working out for Husson? Army West Point have no idea that it's a free site, and they're just going to try and fuse into the objective, into that back corner. It didn't really cover too much area, but the fuse charge does push everyone out of that corner. I mean, it was a worthwhile shot into the site from Quartz. I mean, it was worth the shot. See if you could find a freebie, just somebody watching cams or something, who knows. But you, alas, was not meant to be. Can't get any with the next one either, and all too comfortable an environment inside the site for Husson Esports as they look to be en route to their 3rd round. And Army West Point, in a round they could definitely have won, are not able to do anything like that. Oh, he's gone away. Alto actually gets away for that, but Lance Fox looking for the ace now, not able to find it. Dave, now alone in a 1 versus 3. You've just denied the ace. But what else can you do? It's going to be a couple Candelas in, you're just going to have to go for it. Misses the first shots, though, and Alto has denied that round to Army West Point. And look at us, proven wrong, as Husson win an unlikely round in lab storage.
Army West Point made that so much harder for themselves than I've ever seen a team do on an execute towards lab storage. They made that so hard for themselves just by trying to clear the whole entirety of the top floor. You don't really need to do that, especially if there's no real setup from Husson across the. I mean, there is a setup from them because they have players playing inside a bunk, but you're not really. They're not setting up towards Armory Throne. They're not set up. They don't have a rotation set up between the sites. They reinforce those off. There's nobody. It doesn't seem like there was anybody holding bathroom for them.
Yeah.
Like.
I mean, like it just no. They didn't really. They just kind of.
Need to do
they made the.
That they did, and they did them anyways.
And they didn't need to put that many people just on the top floor. Like they made the same mistake that so many teams at this level make of sending everyone to do the same job that could be done by 2, maybe 3 people. You just needed your Nomad there to deny any angles from outside the site. You needed your Fuse and somebody to break holes from above. Otherwise, you don't really need anyone. And you don't need to bring the Fuse. You could just have one person doing destruction from above. So like, if anything, they made it a lot harder than it needs to be in that last attack. And I hope they realize that because, alright, I mean, I think Ubisoft was going for something specific with that. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, just break the barricade down that you just kind of prepped for some, yeah, you know, whatever it is. 30 seconds into the round, not much control yet for Army West Point, but that makes sense. Husson Esports just kind of waiting for their first opportunities to kill, and of course it's Lance Fox looking for the first one once again.
Let's see. Lance Fox on Oregon did so well in getting the first picks. A lot, like in a plethora of rounds, especially.
He knows that wasn't a good one.
Yeah, I don't think.
He shook his head at that one.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna talk about it. I just shoot it if I were him. Just shoot it at that point. It doesn't matter. It's a waste, right? But anyways, he's been really good at like getting these opening picks, especially on Oregon. On Theme Park, I haven't seen it quite as much. It's been a mixture of a lot of different players. I know Dave got one, Chico got one a numerous amount of times on the defense, especially with the Kaid, one tap with the Magnum. Lagical's still performing about the same. He's still doing pretty well on this map, or even across this whole series. Logical, though, goes unnoticed, and Tellers, and he gets 2 for free, gets a 3rd as well. Logical's just insane. What is this? Finally gets shut down inside of Gong, but the attack has already fell apart before it even got a chance to start.
Yep. It fell apart before it could even start, and then it's just completely gone. 1 kill in the round on the player that should have died 2 or 3 players ago. And Logical just allowed to lay inside of Archives or drop the hatch, no matter which one it actually was. It should not have been allowed to happen for nearly as long as it did, and it should not have been as effective as it was. But those are both the case, and so far, Army West Point, I mean, Husson started well in their attacks, but then ended kind of rough. Army West Point are just coming out the gate crawling with their attack rounds, to be completely honest. I mean, like, there's so many things that we need to see from teams attacking that we're not seeing from AWP, and we don't want to be overly critical of these teams, but this is just like, I'm sure when these players watch this back, the ones among them who are more familiar with competitive play will be watching this thinking, what on earth were we doing? So, you never want to be too harsh on the players here, and that's not what we're trying to do, but it's very essential things like not putting 5 people in the same spot, or making sure you clear small little crevices and corners. And Husson, when they have had massive defensive plays, has just been benefiting off of a lack of clearing in those crevices, corners, and obsolete parts of the map. They've been doing that time and time again, and so far, Lance Fox at 12 kills, Logical at 11, just off the back of making really solid plays out of positions that Army West Point just weren't anticipating properly.
So, 2 vastly different rounds in a row that we've seen from the defense. Last round was just them actually doing like a decent roam across the map. The round before that, at least in the first round of defense, Husson just hurdled on the pipe. Had some players on the top 4 as well, but mainly did an odd setup on Lab Source that somehow worked, and AWP or Army West Point just ran into their setup on the top 4. Expended way too much resources on that top 4 and lost so many bodies in the process. Now we get to see offense initiation. Or, sorry, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Brain melt. But daycare bunks here for Husson Esports on the top 4. And I mean, bringing the Valkyrie here as well. I'm surprised that out of all the bans that we haven't really seen a Valkyrie. On Oregon, I quite understand that, but on Theme Park, I feel like there should be a prioritization of the Valk over Smoke at least.
Yeah, I mean, the Smoke ban was pretty good on Oregon, I think, just for what Husson wanted to do. If Army West Point were going to try and hold the blue elbow with the smoke, then if Husson don't like that, then you just say, okay, we'll just ban it out. But, I mean, banning the smoke here, like, smoke really, there are definitely spots where smoke is good because smoke's a very good operator, but there's nowhere, like, as signature to smoke as, like, spots like blue elbow. As we look across the map, and there's really not much control. I mean, it's just like, it feels like Husson are just going all in on, let's just play the little rat spots and try and run around across the map and see if they can stop us. This should be an Army West Point round win more than rounds in the past, because they don't have to challenge any of these players. They just need to restrain themselves and say, look, let's push into the site, try and get the kills there. Is Lance Fox able to get one? Unfortunate timing on the swing there, and Alto goes down, but a good kill for Bsoft. Is able to come through as well, but Snow Game's been knocked, and Lance Fox has his HP knocked down to low, but Ubisoft is able to get another. The Warden is doing so well. And now Waffle's going to try and nade into the hallway to find something, and it does do good at finding something. Snow Game's still knocked, and there was another kill in the round, but here comes Logical on the flank. He's done this exact thing so many times, and it might just be yet another one. The track stingers are in the way, but he could be able to find a kill without exposing himself to the angle. No, he actually gets heard, and that could be massive as he's shot from the side, and there it is. Locked out for Army West Point. They win that one. They're not going to let Logical back into that round, and Husson, though they were able to take 2 quick ones off this start, Army West Point must have heard my comment about them coming out the gates crawling, and they must have pulled a Michael Jordan and taken that one personally, because that was a pretty solid attack from them.
Yeah. It's a pretty solid attack. I mean, they clawed back from a 4v2 as well.
I think just
the Valkyrie
in that round, they just did a good job taking more horizontal control and not wasting their time on stuff they didn't need to waste their time on, basically.
Yeah. And that's a lot of things that okay, now they're not gonna do a thing.
Oh, character progression.
Yeah, character progression.
They broke the hole open this time.
Our observer is very happy about that.
He's ecstatic.
But
he's been going through it, man.
Yeah.
Anyways, you were saying? I'm sorry to interrupt you so much.
No, don't worry about it. I mean, I saw that too, and I was like, oh, they're not gonna do it. But I was gonna say, a lot of teams fall victim to like just doing a little bit too much in a round, and like higher tier games, it's very hard to catch that. A lot of teams like doing way too much, at least from my perspective of casting some leagues that are like higher tier than collegiate at least. But in like lower tier leagues, it's very easy to catch on to a lot of teams doing too much. We saw it in that one round of lab stories where I explained they could have done a simple one simple strat that they could have done to easily execute onto the storage site, and they did like the complete opposite, right? And so I totally understand from AWP's perspective what they were trying to do and how hard it can be to break that cycle. That time in that last round, they did a fantastic job of just adjusting and winning the gunfights that they needed to. So I mean, especially you saw it from the Ayana from AWP. Forgive me for I can't quite remember it. A lot of things has happened in the past.
I think
few
it was
rounds,
Waffles.
Yeah, Waffles, who's, again, that's a player who's, like, even though he's, like, even at the moment, he's not, like, Sheikah, or Shiko, who's, like, 10-5. He's been an influential player for Army West Point throughout the whole entire series. He's been very, consistent in his numbers.
Yeah, kudos to Waffles, because he's been pretty solid the whole game. Not really having bad performances, but not quite having fantastic performances either. Just a pretty solid presence that you need to get you through a whole best-of-3 map series like this. But Lance Fox has just been doing great all series until that gunfight, where unfortunately for him, it was Sub able to win that one, and now Ubisoft getting challenged on this angle. Just needs to stay alive for as long as possible. Maybe find a kill if he could, but a little bit too late in the shot. Had it lined up, but just barely. Overthought things just a little and couldn't quite react in time. Now 4 versus 3 actually favors Army West Point. After the 5 versus 4 did not favor them, and they will have free reign to fuse from above. This is a better roam clear than they had last round, although they probably didn't need to invest this much, and they probably could have done more of a less is more strategy like you were talking about. But at the very least, I appreciate the fact that they did a better job at clearing this time around. I don't know why, I feel like Snowgame's been trying to shoot the cluster charges, and I wonder if he thinks that he can, because I feel like I've seen that a couple times. But regardless, we're in the last 35 seconds, and Army West Point outside the site now with Soup, trying to make his presence known, but Logical shuts that down. Also, goes down just afterwards, though, so it'll be the push into storage. It's Logical doing a great job with these Maestro cameras. The evil eyes are watching everything. It's Snow Game is watching everything with the AUG. A couple quick headshots, and it's just left to Shiko. 1 versus 2, and gets shot through the footholes, and there it is. The footholes that you didn't have last time win you the round this time around, and Husson get back to even with Army West Point. We've hit 5-5.
Worst site on the map, and we see Hudson win it twice. Not in a row because they didn't pick the sites back to back. Because you couldn't after you win it the first time. But anyways, regardless of that, they win it twice after going there twice. So really good stuff from them, I guess. To some extent, we saw like a better clear there from Army West Point. Again, it was just getting to the execution that kind of like screwed them up. Giving 1v1s like that to the Kaid player on side is just not the way to go. They were really slow to coordinate a push, like a two-prong push the way that they wanted to, especially through the double doors of lab, and also just through the push through bathroom as well as the push through like storage windows. So again, that just comes down to them just doing a little bit too much, not slowing down to properly take those decisions and make those decisions properly in order to actually coordinate a way to execute onto the site. So that's a consistent issue that we're seeing from Army West Point, and that's something that can be easily fixed just by taking the time in a round where you have a good man advantage to just like, hey, look, guys, let's calm it down for a little bit, let's actually drone, and let's figure out the way that we actually want to commit ourselves onto the site.
Yeah, I mean, really solid analysis there of just exactly the way that Army West Point could improve on things. And we have seen them with decent attacks before. And the thing about those decent attacks is that even though, like, their last lab storage attack was better than the first time, and their first lab storage attack was everything wrong with the way they've been playing, but their last 2 attacks have both been pretty good. I mean, they do like, all things considered compared to the way they've been attacking before, relatively speaking, they've been pretty good as Waffles. Oh my, oh, the holographic edges are just so thick, and as a result, Logical can't see Waffles, and Waffles gets the kill. It's the upper hand in that engagement, and that's a massive frag for AWPE to find early because you take Logical off the board. He's been such a nightmare these past couple of maps, and Lance Fox now looking for the trade back. I mean, if you want to talk about someone who's been a nightmare these past couple of maps, it's absolutely Lance Fox as well as Logical. Logical already dead. Lance Fox nearly going down as well. The drone spots him more, but the nade is missed, and Lance Fox allowed to walk away with his life. There's a minute 40 left on the clock, and Waffles can't catch the rotate out either. Lance Fox is such a lucky man to still be standing here with us today, as Waffles hasn't even realized he's left.
Yeah, Fox, it's in the name, Fox. Dude's just like walking and evading shots and people like a freaking fox. I don't know. How else do you want to like explain that? Like, it's crazy that nobody from AWPE is able to react quickly enough to catch one at rotate, despite him being there for like more than like, I want to say like 15, like maybe that's probably a switch, 10 to 15 seconds. Finally, Lance Fox dies, and that's at least some of the horizontal pressure from the defense, taken off.
What?
So AWPE have some room to work. Why was that?
Why was he crossing that? You just
Why was
crossed
he
through the
crossing
side.
that? Why was that very?
Yeah, look, honestly, at this point, not much is able to shock us anymore, as again in the last 40 seconds. With Lance Fox and Logical dead, this could be a massive attack for Army West Point, but Husson, they do still have some players alive, and they're going to fight with all the fight they've got left in them. Snow Game has had a couple good rounds so far this map, and is going to try and make this one another one. Gets that first kill, opens it well, but traded out so quickly, as there goes Quartz, and now it's Ubisoft. Might have to try and play some trigger discipline here, and is able to get the first kill, and lines up the second! They're not watching the corners, and he ends up finishing that off, but he gets knocked. No, he doesn't get knocked down. Actually is traded, though, by Quartz, but it's 3 kills in a row now for Husson, as also... okay, alright. Somehow able to avoid that peek, and just needs to try and play the Echo Jones if they're going to play the plant, but it's actually Quartz chasing for the kill, but he's missed it! What on earth? It was the ending of that round. It was... also trying to play for time with the Echo, but Quartz ran at him from like the wrong side. I'm not sure what to even really say about that one. I mean, just
smile and nod.
Smile and wave, boys. Wow, that's just not really a round you should lose on the attack from that point in the round. I mean, you don't have your first 2 players run in at the exact same time. You drone out the site better and see there's someone sitting in the corner. You kill Ubisoft. You either trade them 1-for-1 or just kill them straight up. You don't let Ubisoft get 2 kills. And then you don't let Ubisoft basically deny Quartz the time to get that kill. Quartz at the very least should have traded a little faster, because I thought Ubisoft had died before they were even knocked down. And then Husson, now up 6-5 because Alto, peeked it and then de-peeked with the drone, and I was so caught off guard by that. And then running after him was Quartz, but then Quartz runs the opposite way that he just saw Alto standing at and doesn't have the time to kill Alto, who was just kind of standing there.
Attacker's objective is to defuse a bomb.
I'm grinning. You can't see my face. It's kind of like a very a lewd, devious grin. I have a grin on my face. Yeah.
All right.
Like the meme picture of that like little girl with the house burning behind her.
That's you?
She's just like grinning. Yeah, that's you.
That's you.
That's me.
I'm the house burning down trying to analyze this game. I'm the house. I am metaphorically burning alive trying to cast the end of that last round with all the things that happened that were just not at all what you would have expected in that scenario. But I mean, we're in the next round all the same, I suppose. We just keep moving forward. Kid Cudi put it best.
Yep.
Keep moving forward.
Just gotta keep pushing. I think there was a song kind of it's like that has like that references that like yeah, gotta keep pushing, just gotta keep on moving. Probably a country song, probably by Dolly Parton, maybe. I don't know. I don't listen to many Dolly Parton songs. We see office initiation site being picked here though from Husson Esports. They move themselves onto match point after just a cluster of situations, unfortunate situations. in that last round. But I mean, we see some good stuff here coming in from Army West Point. They get some control of top of Arcade. They get control of Cafe as well. They get control over this whole west side of the map on the second floor. And the only thing they really need to worry about is the flank. And that can be solved by drones. That can just be solved by somebody watching the flanks.
Track stingers too?
And most definitely the track stingers, yes. Somebody falls. I think that was a misnade. Yep, it was.
It was a miss. I thought it was a C4. Oh no. It was almost the second.
It was either C4 an impact or it was a misnade. I'm going off of misnade because Waffles doesn't have a nade.
Alright, well.
Nice friends first.
Yeah, nearly the second nade suicide we've seen all day from Ayana, but Waffle's still alive, and Quartz is able to get the next kill on the Lance Fox, but Chico was taken down earlier, and Snow Game is still alive in this corner here. Now Logical is going to use the impact to break open the track stingers, but now actually crosses that angle back. It doesn't realize that somebody's watching it very intently, and I don't know how AWP are going to get into the site here. Might need to be off of an overt aggressive play from Husson, but regardless of how they get in, they're going to need to get in, and Snow Game's been dropped. That's going to be massive, and that gives them the opening they needed. Into the office they go, and now Logical on the flank, really the only one who can do anything for Husson, but he gets the first kill, and now could possibly repeat it or try and reposition. Either way, it's an aggressive play from Logical, followed by falling back, and now Army West Point, they have to hold out in this defuse, or else it's going to be the map over. 35 seconds to play with, very spread out across the map. They've got a lot of control over the office, though. That'll have to be a magnificent opening fight here from Husson, as Ubisoft is pushing up really quickly, but Soup gets the first one into Alto. Quartz has the angle into Ubisoft, and it's just left to Logical at a fraction of HP. Miracle knock on a Soup, but that's all he will find, and the alibi cannot save Husson in regulation. The madness cannot end as we go to overtime on the final map of the night, and it just keeps giving us more.
The gift that keeps on giving, which is Siege. Or Collegiate Siege, to be more specific. Right. Yeah. We didn't get to go to OT on Oregon. Sadly. Quote unquote. But we get to see it here on Theme Park. I mean, that was a good attack from AWPE, all things considered, right? I mean, first you lose two of your main, two entry picks, but then they were able to recoup. They had so much map control to work off of as well, as they kind of worked their picks inside of the office site, and they just got the plant down and completely locked it off there from Husson Esports. Now we get to see Lab Storage again, Husson Esports starting on the defense this time around, in OT at least. And yeah,
they're perfect on this site, and this is the only site I think they're perfect on. With the way, yeah, because they lost, what's it called? They lost initiation in that last round, and I think they lost Funk once as well. I believe, yeah, they did. I believe they did. Would need a fact check on that one though. Actually, no. Have they played every site? I think they literally played all 4 sites on the map. I think.
All 4 sites.
Yeah, they lost Arm. Wait, they might have lost Armory Throne. I don't look. What's not important is what sites they lost. It kind of is, because we have to analyze it properly. But at this point, there's only so much you can do to analyze a game that is constantly the opposite of what you expect it to be. To the point where I think if we really just start anticipating what we've been seeing, we will see professional level Siege. That's the rate at which things are just going against expectations. As Quartz takes some early damage, and now Lance Fox just trying to play upstairs, has to fall back because the position has been spotted out. Really good job taking quick horizontal control at this point. And they're going to work their way into barrels as well. But, I mean, they don't really have the ability to do too much with this control, because everything into the site is electrified and reinforced, and it's just not really an easy spot to play out of for the attack here. They're going to need to take that vertical control eventually. They can't really just ignore it forever, or maybe they can, I don't know. At this rate, they might just try and go for it.
I mean, yeah. Again, a lot of teams in Collegiate don't really necessarily, from what I've noticed, at least in the ECAC regions, because a lot of teams are kind of play the same here, which is like unlike any other competitive Siege thing that I've ever seen. But like, they don't necessarily do full clears. I mean, there's not lot of real reasons to do a full clear. The only thing you really need to do here is just attack the site, watch flank. There you go. You get rid of that flank potential, and now all you have to worry about is converging all of your map control, all of that pressure that you have outside of the sites into the actual site itself. And Army West Point, again, are doing a very good job of actually working their picks. And this is what I asked for the past, I don't know, few maps.
Oh.
It's for them to just calm down when it comes to the execute instead of giving them 1v1s. But I mean, here comes one, Logical finds another, and they're still taking these one-on-one engagements despite finding so many through Soup. And again, I mean, they just kind of give up these picks on the outer banks of the site. And now it's up to a 1v1 between Fort and Ubisoft.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting 1-versus-1. Quart's just trying to play around the intel. Has the health advantage whether he knows it or not. And has basically all but guaranteed where Ubisoft is going to be playing from. But what a headshot that was from the Warden. I wasn't anticipating the aggressive peeks, but perfectly times it, and Ubisoft gets the quick headshot. And now Husson are going to be moving forward in overtime with the round advantage. They have to lose 2 from here in a row without Army West Point taking 1. But Arbor back on the defense, which was favored in regulation. They can pick whatever site they want. They choose to go to initiation. This has worked well for them so far. They're 2 for 2 on initiation. It was their first site picked. They're clearly incredibly confident in this. Do we see a 7-7, or is this a round won by Husson? What are your thoughts on that, Sugar?
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Yeah. Depending on how this round actually goes, depending on like seeing the trend, as I try to get my words correct, seeing the trend that we've had between both of these teams, especially on the defense. Offense, we've seen the lab storage be like a good site for Husson Esports. Their best site, it seems so far, which is surprising to say about lab and storage, but we're saying that, and it is true for them. Army West Point, on the other hand, office initiation is a good site for them to run. They're running it now, and considering their track record on this site, I feel like they have a chance of actually like winning it. But then again, you can say the same thing for Husson Esports. I don't have the exact statistics at this point, but I think this is still Husson, in terms of their win rate on the site, are still pretty positive. So, or not Husson, Army West Point on their defensive side are pretty positive in their win rate. So I think this might go 7-7, but it's very hard to predict right now because both of these teams are doing the complete opposite of what I'm predicting them to do.
Yeah, so at this point, the analysis feels kind of just futile. As the last round, you thought it was going to go one way, then you thought it was going to go another way, and then at the very end it was switching back to one team, and then you look like, oh wait, never mind, the one team's going to win, and then back and forth. I think I got all the momentum swings in that past round, but I probably missed at least a couple with how crazy back and forth these rounds have been. As Husson, alright, I mean, I can see the intent there. It's a start. I can see why he did that.
It's a start.
Yeah, I can somewhat understand why he did that.
Yeah, no,
but,
for sure.
like, I don't really know. But regardless, we'll move forward, and Soup's able to get the kill on the snow game. So, Army West Point start the round off well, but Dave is knocked and finished. So Lance Fox, again, finding impact early in the round. And Husson, better off because of it, as the Capital, so good at getting an early kill, but hasn't made it 2. In fact, has actually gone down to Shiko. And now, it looks kind of rough for Husson. We might see more OT as it keeps going back and forth, and it's constantly favoring Army West Point.
Army West Point 3v2. Again, office initiation is their best site. They are in!
That's the site.
Altus is missing every single shot. I mean, there you go. There you go. Waffles is down.
Nobody's covering Logical.
Logical is 2v2. Nobody's covering it on this plan. Also, what is he watching? What is he watching? Nothing.
Oh!
What? Listen! What? And that's the map! That's done!
He collided 2 to win it in the 1v2! What? Of course that map, that series, ends like that. The last thing you could have predicted happening happens every single time something happens. And then at the very end, the last thing you could have predicted happening to end the map happens to end the map. What more can even be said? Other than the fact that Logical just had like the day of his life and is just complete just have you regained your ability to speak yet, or are you still recovering? Sugar.
No, I can speak.
Okay. Okay.
So
I know it was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. A lot of different things that happened throughout this whole series. Not even in just that one map. So Logical having an incredible performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, throughout the whole entire series.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And got a 2K, a collateral.
Uh-huh.
At the end of Theme Park. Yeah, that's it.
All right. I mean, for those of you who have been here with us through this long, long ride of a night, I'm sure you can understand why we're just kind of at a loss for words. I have kind of needed to be since I got here, and it's been 3 hours. It's been a long one. It's been a fun one though. It's been fun to just bond. Okay, it's been a nice little bonding experience. I can't speak for our observer when I say we all had a good time, but for the most part, it was a series of Rainbow Six Siege that we watched and casted and observed and produced and whatever we did, and it ended 2-1 in favor of Husson Esports. They go to, I believe it's 3-3 now, and then I believe Op are now 2-5. So it's been a rough season for 3-4. Excuse me. So they both came into it at 2-4. I thought one of them might have been like 2-3, but no, it's 3-4 for Husson, 2-5 for Op, and unfortunately for the Army West Point boys, it was so close yet so far in so many ways. But a great comeback from Husson. They get blown out on the first map, and they do a really good job coming back in the next two. And I've kind of just said my piece. Logical's pretty good at the game. So is Lance. Suga, is there anything else you want to say before we send this one out?
Well, yeah, we do have an interview for Husson. But before we do the interview, we will have a break. So we will reserve all of our questions about the actual match when we come back from this break. So don't go anywhere because this interview with Husson is going to happen.
It's going to be
We'll see you soon.
Probably several hours a day into Smash. About a year ago, I was like really, really grinding it and put a lot of effort into it. But lately, like my priorities have shifted just a little bit. Just because there's other things I need to focus on. Like I started working again recently and stuff like that. So it's taken a little bit of a backseat, but it's always something I focus on. So like even though I'm not necessarily playing all the time right now, I still try to get at least 30 to 60 minutes in a day. But I've been really busy lately, so it hasn't been looking like that lately. But if I'm not doing that, then there's still other stuff that kind of goes into it. Like I do a lot of research on mentality stuff and like stuff like meditation and stuff. So if I'm not gaming or whatever, there's still other things that I feel like is going towards my improvement at the game.
Could you expand a little bit on like meditating and how that helps you?
Yeah, so with a game like Smash, it can be like really volatile, and one of the reasons why I pursued Smash is because, well, I've always liked it since a young age, but also it's always been like really challenging. Like Smash 4 came out, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start competing with Smash 4, and I started playing it. For whatever reason, when I started playing it, like I realized that I was getting like frustrated, like I was like kind of getting a little bit angry, and like anger is something I don't really feel very often. So it was kind of like a challenge for me. I'm like, okay, this is really challenging. This game is really hard. I want to figure out how to do this. Like I want to challenge myself, and that was a lot of reason why I did that in Smash. Just like some other things, like it can be comparable to kind of like chess and tennis in a way with like mentality aspects. And I used to play tennis in high school, and I was never really like super good at it, but I was like I was really into it whenever I was playing for some reason. And there was a lot of frustration in that too back in high school when I played. So it was figuring out how to manage that frustration and how to like get it under control and actually channel it into something useful. Because one of my goals is always to be like, I want to be like a calm and collected person when I play. You know, I like, even though I'm an emotional person, I can be an emotional person because I'm passionate and I care a lot about it. But that's kind of where the meditation comes in, because it lets you kind of be more like at one with yourself and your emotions and how you feel and stuff like that. And also just kind of eases your mind a bit, and it can really help in those situations. Like if you practice meditation and then you're in game and you're playing, and there's a situation where it's like super high tense situation, it can kind of give yourself the advantage because you might be a lot more calm than your opponent if you do practice stuff like meditation. And it just has a bunch of other benefits as well, because with something like Smash, I try to be like the best I can be in game and like out of game. I think there's a lot of factors that go into it, and I feel like if I improve everything that I can to the best of my ability, then it gives me like the highest chances to win, like in the game.
I know you speak about frustration and anger, but what about nerves? Like, do you get nervous?
Every now and then I definitely do get a little bit nervous. A lot of the things like a lot of the my nerves I kind of quell at this point because I've been playing for like so long, where it's like if I go to a tournament and I sit down, it's just like it's just me in the game, like it's just me in the match, and that's the goal, and it's just trying to learn and just play what's in front of me, you know. But sometimes it does. There are a little bit of nerves, like for example in Vegas, because I'm not very often playing on like big stages. Sometimes it's smaller tournaments, and at Vegas it was a bigger stage and there was a lot more people watching, so it was a bit more of a unique situation that I wasn't always in, and there was a little bit of nerves there, although it was a bit under control. But um, I think I definitely have the nerves mostly under control. And if there's a new situation like the stage one, I feel like just having more experience with that kind of stuff kind of help quells it. And also, it's just because there's also other methods too, like telling yourself like, uh, like self-affirming stuff. I'm this is what I do. I'm just gonna go up there and play the game and do my best. And telling yourself that kind of stuff helps with nerves a lot too. So.
As a coach, do you tell those things to the people that you're coaching as well when they're nervous?
Yeah, I try a lot to practice what I preach, and I do in my coaching. There's a lot of mentality coaching too, because uh, I feel like not a lot of I feel like it's a really interesting part of the game and just a part of life too. And I feel like it's not something people focus on a lot with coaching. I feel like a lot of coaching, they're focusing on technical aspects, in-game aspects. Like what can you do in the situation that can be better. But sometimes like mentality comes first, and they're not going to be able to make those steps and make those leaps without like making a change in their mentality first, or at least trying to make an improvement somewhere there. And there's a lot of different like perspectives for it, but yeah.
I really admire your mindset. That's really cool. A lot of the
Thank
gamers
you.
that I've talked to are like aggressive. It's
Thank you.
really cool to hear that. Switching gears a little bit, how do you feel about the CECC? What do you think about it? And do you think your team will go to Atlanta?
So far, I think it's been good. It's been fun, and I do think there's a very high chance we would go to Atlanta. With my mentality, like I was talking about before, sometimes I just go into it and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do my best and I'm gonna play, and that's really what comes down to it. But I am really confident in our team's ability. I think we have a really good set of guys that put a lot of work into it. So I'm very confident that we would likely go to Atlanta. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Then I just go from there.
Well, those are all the questions I had. So, is there anything else that you want the world to know about you or anything that you would like to end with?
I don't know, for anyone watching, like just try to find like a balance like in life, and try to find like who you are truly, and like follow that passion. Because just for like reference, I worked somewhere for 3 years, and then I felt like I wasn't being called to work there anymore, and like Smash was something I always cared about and always wanted to do. So I quit work, and with the money I had saved up, I pursued Smash for like a year and a half, and like that phase just kind of ended. And I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all. Like I wasn't like making a lot of money through it, but it was something I was passionate about, something I wanted to do, and I'm really glad that I did it. And I hope that other people can consider like following their passions like that, but also with proceeding like with caution, doing what is available to them, and just finding like who they are and what makes them happy, I guess.
Thank you so much again for your time and doing this interview with me. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you for having me.
is that we don't have these preconceived notions, and we're willing to listen to our membership and read the room, read college athletics and how it's connected and how it's not, and take what we have expertise in championships, but also throw out some of the other stuff. I remember when we first started, there were some conferences were applying their amateurism rules to all of their esports competitors, and I think we knew enough to know that no, that's not going to work in an esports culture. It's got to be very different. And by the way, the NCAA was going in a different direction. You could see that Train had already left the station on that, and so it's an incredibly dynamic area and ever changing, and will continue to change. And just as we didn't know when we started what it's going to be looking like, I think similarly we still don't know what it's going to be in another 5 years. I know enough to know that all of us are still going to have a thriving esports program that's doing a real good service for our members and for our competitors. But we still don't know necessarily what some of that is going to look like, and that's pretty cool about it all. Let me ask you this, because you all are used to dealing with your athletic directors, and each of them are dealing with what's in front of them in their athletic departments. My guess is at least some of your schools are that this is not necessarily operating within the athletic department. And can you talk about how you navigate that in a conference office, and maybe the best way to handle that, or do you have preferences? Do you try to steer them one way or the other? And just talk a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Welcome back to the ECAC Esports on Esports U at twitch.tv.com, as I get that whole link wrong in your embed part. But we are back with the interview from It is Logical on the mic. For the very question I have for you, Logical, how do you feel after such a big win here against Army West Point?
Currently, the heart rate's still going. Obviously, after that last match with the last 2 kills I got, heart was racing. We obviously needed that game. One of our last 2 games we needed for playoffs, so that secured a spot for the playoffs. So there was a lot of pressure. We were treating the game as, that was our last. That was going to be it, even though we had a backup game. But we treated it as that was it.
Fair enough. So one thing that I wanted to discuss was first map of Chalet. Obviously, it was a tough loss for you guys, and the one thing that we both attributed to was, well, on the attack there was some issues with like YouTube clearing, and then for the defense there was a lack of action in terms of like the big plays for you guys, or at least a lack of initiative and wanting to make the big plays work on the defense, especially when it came to like flanks, roams. From a player's perspective, can you like describe like the issues with Oregon from your side of things? Or not?
You mean
Oregon,
the issues with
Chalet?
Chalet? Yeah, I got it.
Chalet. I think the biggest thing when it comes down to is practice. From a player's perspective, I play off campus all the time, so I have the experience with Chalet. Obviously, there's team members we have that can only practice at practice, and we don't get on Chalet, I believe, enough. So when it comes to working together, it becomes very difficult. So from my perspective, obviously, I'm more I play more off-site. So when if I get killed, I'm forced to go to cams, obviously. So, but the roamers, obviously, some of them don't know the calls yet. We're working on that, obviously. When I play, on site, and then my teammates go off site, it's very different because, the only time we play together is during practice. So I guess for that map, it was very difficult just because practice-wise, we haven't put the hours into it.
Gotcha. All right, so now it's time to talk about the fun maps. So map number 2, you had a baller performance on Oregon. Now, there was one round in particular where you had a massive, you were the one who, I believe you were the one who got that 1v4, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And then there was the other round where you almost got that to win, that ended in the 1v1. So how is the team morale going after you won that 1v4? And do you think like you winning in that round in particular helped carry you guys through the rest of that map? And also, how did you guys like hang on at the very end? Because you lost 5 straight defensive rounds or attacking rounds. How did you manage to hang on to win that last one and take it in regulation? So it's a little bit of a double question, but just sort of like, what are the vibes like with you guys in comms after you won that big one, and after you guys had been on a bit more of a losing streak and might have been worried about like possibly not, I don't want to say throwing, but losing when you had a big advantage?
Yeah, so to start off with the losing streak, that was pretty much on my mind when we were up 6-0. It came up. I was thinking about it every round. I was like, and then they kept winning and winning. But then I would think back. I was like, I won the one before. I know I can help my team push through this. I know because I think the biggest thing when it comes to Rainbow is that someone needs to make a play to keep the ball rolling for the team. Because when you guys start, getting picked off one by one, the team, can't think of the word, just overall the level the mental just drops, and you start forgetting about the angles, the droning, all like the peaks, especially with Cade they had on their team with his secondary. He was
Oh yeah,
very good.
Shika, I
Yeah.
believe.
With the 1v4, obviously again the pressure's on. I actually had someone text me and told me to play Alibi during that match because they knew I was better with Alibi. So I was like, okay, I can frag with Alibi. So I went to play Alibi. Obviously I went up to the hatch because I knew they planned a meeting hall because I got the call out that they were there. I picked off the one stairs because I heard him coming up, and then the one through hatch because he was going. I believe he's probably gonna go stairs to go look for me, but I don't think they made the call that was hatch. Obviously, then when you come down, it's a 1v2. They could, both be holding opposite angles. Obviously, it's all about the quick peeking. So, quick peek in the kitchen because someone's got to be holding that. Pre-firing. So when I pre-fired the guy in the kitchen, I believe I knew I hit him, and then when I went over to the left side on the rotation, I got the call out that I knocked him. But I know with not full coverage behind the foldable table, I think it was behind, that I was gonna have to go for the fake and just hope that he pushes, and that's what ended up happening. He ended up pushing, and I just saw the movement. I just shot and got the kill.
Nice, nice. So there was inside the mind of Logical in that one before. And then we'll just end things off by talking about theme park in general. Just how do you guys feel? How were you guys feeling on that map? Like, did you feel like you had like a very solid like grasp of it, or did it feel like more like you were just trying to make things up as you went along? And with theme park just in general, how was did you guys did the team morale feel off? Did you feel like confident that you were going to win it? Were you kind of uneasy that you might not win? And just generally, how was that map? Because when we were watching, it was crazy, like back and forth with rounds going completely different certain times. So what was that like being in the team and being one of the people who's actually doing a fantastic job on theme park as well?
Yeah, so the start of the semester, obviously when we first started playing, we actually ended up playing on theme park. It was our first match ever, and the team, I forget who we played. I think they ended up having practice, and we did not have practice, so we ended up getting like 0-7, something like that. And then that pretty much dropped morale. No one liked theme park. I mean, I don't like theme park personally, but I started doing more practice on it. Everyone started doing more practice on it. Obviously, we don't really like to choose for theme park, but if we get it, I feel like it's more of a middle feeling. We like it, we don't like it. We ended up having to have a quick little meeting between the captains on who we wanted to play on that map because depending if we were attacking or defending, we were either going to put legit Scarson or Alto in, and we were attacking, so we made the decision to put Alto in. Believed that he was going to help with the attacking side more since we started off those rounds.
All right, nice. And so, is there anything last that you want to say? Because I believe you just mentioned earlier that you guys are now clinched for playoffs. So, if that's the case, is there anything you just want to say going out for anybody out there watching? If you have any of your friends tuned into the Twitch stream or something, or just is there anything you want to just leave us with for the evening?
I mean, a big example is, I guess, never give up on a game, especially when you lose that hard for the first game. You still got one more game to come back. There's always comebacks.
All right, much respect and much love to you, Logical. Congratulations on the W today and on your particularly fantastic solo performance. But that's all we're going to have for everybody in the Twitch chat today. Esports U, well, we're going to have to say goodbye for the evening. Tomorrow there is going to be another so that's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern, just like the start of this game was, if you want to tune in for that. But as for Siege, it'll be next week when we're back on for some more Rainbow Six action. And as for myself and my wonderful co-caster, Suga, thank you so much from both of us. We had a wonderful time on the cast tonight. We would love to see you back very, very soon. But make sure you have a fantastic night for the rest of your evening. And I wish all of you nothing but the best. It was a wonderful night here, but from Esports U, Happy and Suga saying good night.
Perhaps by next year we'll be under the auspices of athletics, but most of them are in other departments across campus. Right. One of the things that has helped us is that we have support from the president's office. And so in order to participate in Mountain West events, you have to have an adult non-student administrator that oversees that, the eSport program. And that's where we get assistance with, eligibility checks and, what, please complete your roster, things like that. I don't know in the future, and it depends on, who's sitting in the athletics director's chairs, whether or not more esport teams will go under the umbrella of athletics. And I'm kind of indifferent in terms of whether it should, because I don't want esports to go down the road that some conventional sports have gone down with the NCAA. So we have a unique opportunity to kind of craft esports in a way that fits what esports is, as opposed to trying to fit it into a conventional athletics box, so to speak.
Right. I think the success of our program and getting participation is exactly that. The fact that we're not tying it in necessarily to athletics and NCAA eligibility. Like Carolyn, we probably have 3 or 4 schools that are under athletics. And I know it puts them in a difficult position sometimes trying to make some decisions. I got a request recently to consider allowing part-time students to participate during this year, because some schools struggle sometimes to fill out all the games that they want to play with us. And we held off on that for now. We defer to the institution and say, what's your policy for those that are under student development or activities? What's your policy for allowing students to participate? And if you certify that they're eligible under your current policies, then that's good for us. I also think, and I was part of some of the conversations early on with the NCAA years ago about the NCAA getting involved as a Division II representative, and I was crossing my fingers that wouldn't happen, just because I think this needs time to grow, and expand.
Can I ask a question, because you mentioned part-time enrollment, and one of the things that we've done here is that as a conference, we've just set eligibility standards, full-time enrollment, making progress towards your degree as the institution defines it. Are you guys doing something like that as well? Because we've gotten that part-time enrollment question and we've said no. Yeah,
no, I don't think we've gotten that far down the line, Carolyn, to ask for that. I think we kind of put it on the institution, but we do say that the student has to be a full-time. Now, they could be a full-time grad student, but they have to be full-time as from what the institution decides.
Yeah, our eligibility requirements are just as simple as can be. You have to be a full-time student in good standing.
Yes.
And after that, and that's about it. Now I think we wanted as few impediments to getting this thing rolling as possible in the outset. I do think as schools get more competitive, they will start to distrust one another, and that's why we have this 500-page NCAA manual, because schools distrust one another. But we're not there yet. Right now there's still a collective, let's move this forward. And the fact that the NCAA is not administering it, I think, is really helpful to the growth of it all. And yes, we allow grad students. We don't even have a 4 or 5 year clock. If you are full-time enrolled for 10 years in good standing, you can do, and why not? Why would we not say that that's okay? Now, eventually, like I said, we may change our minds if the schools require it. They say, no, this is crazy. Look what they're doing over there. We don't like, but I think we're still a long way from that. Alex, do you have anything?
Yeah, I mean, I echo everything that really Carolyn has said. You know, you're gonna have to forgive me. What was the original question? It's been a minute. I know. I'm sorry.
Well, just kind of what you set out to do, and then what maybe the realities of it.
And there's so many other jobs as well that
That's
can
right.
translate out of this experience in esports. The only path is not just as a player. I think all of us are representative of jobs in esports, but it mirrors traditional sports in pretty much the same way. You've got, you know, broadcasters, you've got production people,